the striker is Eric Jumbo Pettit. Now in the striker is Dan Morgan, Kamiansky.
My name is Mariah Chinchilla, and I'm a senior at Dominican University. When I graduate, I want to be a web and media producer.
My name is Daniel Williams. I go to the University of Puget Sound, and I want to work in the baseball industry.
Zach Busson, Dominican University, and I want to be a garment manufacturer.
The name's Vela, Sam Vela. I'm a junior at Dominican University of California. When I graduate, I plan on trying out for professional soccer teams in Europe.
My name is Graham Hooper. I go to the San Francisco Flex Academy, and I want to be a baseball broadcaster.
Jana McCarroll, I go to Dominican University, and I am interested in pursuing media arts.
My name is Spencer Clark. I go to the University of Arizona, and I want to be a composer.
Nadia Green, Dominican University of California, and I'd like to go into PR and marketing.
Hi, my name is Rennie Shapiro. I go to Tam High School, and I'd love to be an ESPN anchor when I'm older.
And welcome to Albert Park here on the 4th of July. Happy 4th of July to you. American Independence Day. 337 years young is the country of the United States of America. You are joining this game in progress. This is an exhibition game here at Albert Park, taking place before the San Rafael Pacifics take on the Maui Nakao Ikaika. This is between the San Francisco Pacifics and then the Bay Area Classic Baseball team. It's a mixture, rather, of a couple of teams from around the Bay Area, Oakland and San Francisco, another San Francisco team among them. Right now I'm joined by minority owner of the San Rafael Pacifics, Brian Sobel. Brian, how are you doing today?
Doing well, and happy 4th of July to everybody who's tuned into the game.
Well, you are joining this game. We're in the bottom of the second inning. It's a 3-inning exhibition here taking place before the Pacifics game. Already San Francisco is leading 8-0. And there are 0 hands in this inning. Hands are the equivalent of outs. This game is being played 1886 style. So a different set of rules, different set of equipment for sure. Different umpires, as you will be able to see in just a moment. The umpire standing in a black suit with a bowler hat. Just a totally different take on the game that you are seeing right now, and not something you're going to see very often. So this is an exclusive on Marin TV. Now that's the final out, but San Francisco played at 5 in that inning. So Brian, I understand that you were responsible for putting this together. Why did you want to put a classic baseball game on before the Pacifics today?
Well, one of the things to remember is that baseball has a rich tradition, as America does. And so bringing out a vintage league with vintage teams to give the fans the experience of baseball in its earliest days is the reason for having this exhibition today. And as we've been watching before we went on the air, a completely different game, and yet you see so many of the roots of modern day baseball in these players and in this league.
You really can. I mean, besides, there are a couple of key differences. First off, the glove is not much bigger than the player's hands in the field.
Exactly.
The pitcher, we were talking about this before we went on the air, he doesn't really take much time between the pitch. He just grabs the ball and throws it. It makes for a completely different paced game. The hitter gets to choose his own strike zone, which is just hilarious to me.
I like that a lot. It started as when you go back and read about the beginnings of baseball, what they called a gentleman's game. It was calling your own strikes in many cases, although in this case, when umpires came in, the batter selects, as you noted, where he wants the pitch. The umpire's duty was not to call balls and strikes, and it just makes for a different kind of game.
Well, the Pacific's motto this year is baseball like it used to be, and this is very much literally baseball like it used to be. And it's a great experience. You can see there are plenty of fans here lining the grandstands of
Absolutely.
Albert Park, and it's something that I'm personally am very happy to see this kind of support for this kind of thing.
The fans in Marin County, Sonoma County, San Francisco, and elsewhere that have been coming to the Pacific's games are enjoying baseball, as you say, the way it used to be. It's minor league baseball, it's fun, and what we're seeing in this exhibition is baseball as it was played in its earliest days, back when our country that we celebrate today was a much younger nation. But you can see that the elements of baseball are all through this exhibition.
And it's been an exciting exhibition thus far, although San Francisco definitely having their way with the Bay Area hodgepodge team.
Well, yes. They have a group of hitters that really can knock the ball about.
And as you see a strikeout there, that's a second hand in the inning.
Yes, it is. The nomenclature of baseball has also changed. And you'll notice that when the pitcher pitches, they may come with all kinds of different deliveries. Right now you can see he's using a sidearm delivery. Some go over the top. Some are full submariners. A whole variety of pitching styles. And you also notice that they work very quickly. There's no ritualistic things going on the mound. They pick up the ball and throw.
As the San Francisco pitcher, Ranger there had a very easy 1-2-3 inning for himself. That's the first time we've seen that all day, in fact.
Yes, absolutely. Mostly there's been batters getting up there and knocking the ball about, as they say.
And an interesting thing to note is that the bats are very, very heavy.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Over the years, bats, all equipment has become very customized to the player. When baseball started, they got a piece of wood, fashioned it into sort of a bat, and it's cylindrical and it has some of the same elements, but it's long and more like a toothpick than it is what you see today, where you might have a bat that is very thin at the base and then balloons up, which is why in Major League Baseball or all baseball, you get a lot of bats breaking. You will never see one of these bats breaking. It just is not constructed that way.
Pretty much just a very thick piece of wood.
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
You talk about the weight on these things. In professional baseball today, you hear the terminology drop 3 or drop 2, corresponding to the fact that a bat will be about 34 inches with 31-ounce weight.
Right.
These bats, I was talking to Tabor Watson, who's the clubhouse manager and also be joining us later on this broadcast. He was saying that he picked up one of the bats that was about 36 inches long and must have weighed at least 40 ounces.
Oh, yeah. You think about it, probably turned in the early days on a lathe in a wood shop. And again, different game. These were club teams that came from factories and farms, town teams, things like that, and with no expectation of making any money playing the game until much later.
And that actually started with the serious money being made with Babe Ruth after he was traded from the Red Sox to the Yankees.
Well, Babe Ruth in his day, of course, made a phenomenal amount of money. And at the height of his fame, $80,000 a year contract. When you put it in perspective, at the time of professional baseball's start in America, and when money was really flowing into the game, players made about 4 times that of an average factory worker. People could really relate to that.
Yeah.
Then over the years, you saw the salaries balloon, and Babe Ruth really was making, in contemporary terms, 100 times more than that what an average factory worker was making, much more than that. And he was the first one to make what was considered to be unbelievable money for its day.
The first player to make more money than the president.
Absolutely, and there was a great quip by the president at that time about the fact that Babe Ruth was making more money than he was. But Babe Ruth was also filling the stands. He was the first player to really revolutionize the long ball. Up to that point, baseball was a different game. It was a game of singles and doubles.
As we've seen today, actually.
Absolutely.
You can definitely see the roots of that in here. And even when Babe Ruth was playing, there were a lot of other players like Ty Cobb, who Ty Cobb famously once said, hitting home runs is easy. I can do it. I bet you I'll hit 3 home runs in the next game. He hit 3 home runs in the next game.
Yep.
But you're right, absolutely. Babe Ruth definitely did change the way the game was played. And actually, I believe, if memory serves correctly, he had something to do with the change in the bats that allowed him to hit it a little bit further.
Well, he was one of the first players, and as you know, he could have been anything he wanted to be. He was a tremendous pitcher to start with the Boston Red Sox. But he also had this great talent to hit. But more than that, for baseball's future, he was a showman. And you know, everything from you know, pointing in the famous pointing incident of the 1932 World Series, to a lot of other things where he declared he'd hit a home run, and he did. Yeah. You know, he understood that baseball was more about the show. It was an entertainment vehicle than the game in some respects, and he's the guy that really made all of that happen. But for the vintage baseball that we're watching, this was a different type of thing before, you know, the era of Babe Ruth and the livelier ball, by the way, which had something to do with that.
Yes, they are actually using the dead ball here.
Right. When in the dead ball era, you couldn't hit the ball the way that the Ruths of his time, and later the Gehrigs and other players could hit the ball. They were using what they called the dead ball. Didn't go very far, so you saw all singles and doubles and that sort of thing.
And it's a much more strategic type of game. The game that you will sometimes see from NL teams in the modern day play, about the Giants, for example, who don't have a lot of power in their lineup.
Yes, well, the Giants are a whole other story at the moment. They're really struggling, but they one could joke and say it's kind of looking like the dead ball era at the moment for our San Francisco Giants.
Oh, they were just no hit the other day by Homer Bailey, which
yes,
painful for fans to watch, but it does happen.
It does, and you know, they've struggled through injuries and that sort of thing. They'll come back, but you know, the beauty of vintage baseball, and frankly minor league baseball, the Santa Fe Pacifics, you know, a team we're so proud of and doing so well, is that you have players who are playing for the love of the game, and they come out every game, give their all, and this is the result. And that was a nice hit to right field, but very reminiscent of the early days of baseball. You know, he looked to right field, kind of picked out his pitch and hit it there. That was the early days of baseball.
I did like that you brought it back to the Pacifics. I did want to ask you, put together a fairly decent team. I mean, credit as much as it goes to Mike Shapiro, but the Pacifics have just been flat out fantastic this year. You know, 23-6 is a fairly decent record.
Well, and undefeated at home, and just doing, you know, very well. And believe me, credit does go to Mike Shapiro. Mike Shapiro is a baseball guy from way back, and very good for baseball and very good for minor league baseball. Great applause for this vintage team.
We can definitely hear the fans going at it. They really enjoyed this game. It was a 3-inning game. Not even close was the final score. It was 10-0 in favor of San Francisco. But it was an interesting game to watch. It gave me personally, and I can definitely relate to the viewers, how it would give a lot of perspective of where my favorite game in the world came from.
Yep. See the cheering, very, very much back to the early days of baseball, and we will have them back. There's no doubt about that. And I don't know whether the camera can pick up our friend Drake here with the American flag draped over his back. Vintage baseball and America go together.
Well, Drake just did finish being the Grand Marshal in the Larkspur 4th of July parade.
A very, very well-known duck.
Yeah. Well, he has a bobblehead now.
He has yes, absolutely.
How many ducks can honestly say I have a bobblehead?
I don't think there's one duck in America that has a bobblehead, but it's cute here. We're going to get a nice vintage photo, and Drake's right in the middle of that, of course.
Oh, he's always in the middle of everything.
Yes,
Drake.
yes.
If you are just joining us, the Santa Fe and Maui game will be starting momentarily. We just finished an exhibition game, vintage style, 1886 was the rule set that we were playing by, and it was a very exciting one and very entertaining to watch.
Absolutely. Glad to have him here. As I say, we'll have him back.
All right, well, we will be right back on Marin Television. The Santa Fe game will be coming up in just a few moments. Stay tuned.
What's at stake today?
Playoffs.
Yeah?
And we're in. You know, it's the last game of the season.
Who are you playing?
Oakland. We've beat them once in the past 4 years. But that was the last time we played them.
Everyone knows where they're playing, right?
Everybody's stretched.
No lineup card. Everybody's seeing loose. How you feel, Butch? Good.
Do you have all your good players?
Most.
Who's missing?
Well, we had a guy last year, Grit, who came out from New York. He played with us. And he pitched. He really helped out. We'll see.
This looks sort of hazardous right here, doesn't it? Jeez. I can depend on you to catch this, right? Whoa, jeez. So do you guys ever practice?
Before the season, yeah.
I see. I don't think I'm going to stand here too much longer.
I'll stop.
Right here.
Where's here?
Go, Peter! 10-1. Let's give them like a 1 run. Like we're gonna win 10 for sure. So,
How do you like baseball so far, huh?
he was hoping to see you.
Go, you can see there. Good at it. Get it there.
Peter's up.
Go,
Yeah.
Peter!
Yay,
Go,
Peter.
Peter!
There he is. That looked outside to me. What do you think, Jasper?
Hello, my name is Janet McCarroll.
And I'm Sam Vella.
Welcome to the Pacific's baseball game recap, brought to you by Marin TV and Dominican University.
Today we're recapping the game on Thursday, June 27, 2013.
The San Rafael Pacifics came away with a 4-0 victory on this matchup against the Hawaii Stars. Pacific starters Logan Odom was more than solid, improving to 3-0 with a 2.97 ERA. He gave up just 6 hits and 4 walks over 7 2/3 innings while striking out 9. About Odom's performance, Pacific's manager Ryan Pretty said, "They don't know what to expect. Odom went out there and pitched his game and threw first pitch strikes, and they really didn't have an answer for him."
Hawaii certainly got shut down, but a slew of defensive mistakes didn't help either. In the bottom of the 4th, with Danny Gonzalez at the plate, a pass ball allowed Kyle Donani to get to third. And then Gonzalez sent the very next pitch into left for a single, getting the Pacifics on the board. The Stars hurt themselves again in the bottom of the 7th, when Price Kendall's center field single was fielded and thrown wildly home, scoring ranking. The defense was so unpredictable that even our camera crew was a bit confused.
The Pacifics held on to the shutout for a 4-0 win, improving their division record to 22-6. That's it for this TV game recap. I'm Janet McCarroll.
And I'm Sam Vella. You can find our live TV schedule online at cmcm.tv/camp, and also learn more about this sports broadcasting training program. See you next time.
And welcome back to Albert Park. We're just about ready to start the San Rafael Pacific's game against the Maui Nakoa Ikaika. Good afternoon, thank you for tuning in, and happy Independence Day. I am Vinny Longo, alongside me is Tabor Watson. Tabor taking on the color commentating duties today, but also fills a couple of other roles in this organization, namely clubhouse manager.
Yes, sir.
Which is something you took on fairly recently, I understand.
Just last week, actually.
Well, I mean, you've gotten to know the team, I'm sure, in a different way than pretty much anybody else in the staff.
More intimately than anybody else, I'll start with that.
Well, more details on that later. For sure. Today's game brings together, as I said, San Rafael and Maui. On the year, it's going to be a close matchup. These are the two top teams in the Pacific Association right now. San Rafael sitting at 23-6 in first place in the Pacific Association. Maui at 21-11, 3.5 games behind the Pacifics. They came into this series just 1.5 games behind, but the Pacifics have won the last 2 games, 2-1 and 3-1 respectively, in what has been a very close series so far.
It's actually the first time in a couple weeks the Pacifics have been really challenged. It's nice to see.
Yeah, it's the confines of Albert Park have been very comfortable for the Pacifics this year. As of yet, 14-0 at home during the regular season. The last time they lost was against East Bay in exhibition play, and this was 2 weeks before the regular season started. So it's been well over a month and a half since the Pacifics have lost at home.
It's actually been a lot of fun down in the dugout, too. Winning's always a lot more fun after the game, too, especially with my duties.
Yeah, I'll bet. Because you're there after the game, during the game, you're just sitting around the players all the time. What's that like?
Well, it depends on the day. For the most part, it's pretty good. The Pacifics are a bunch of really good guys, a bunch of very nice guys. You got a good mix of young and old. It's actually a really decent chemistry down there. It's a lot of fun.
Now, we did see a couple times in the last series with Hawaii, and then once in the Vallejo series. This was before your time as clubhouse manager, but we saw a couple of walk-off wins. What's it like being in that environment? Because as you said, it is a positive environment. Everybody likes each other. What's it like when they just go crazy like that?
Well, especially the last walk-off was kind of a struggle of a game for the entire thing. We were playing from behind the whole time, so to actually walk that one off and win it, that felt so good, especially to end the series. You can't end a series any better than that.
Well, definitely, as a game six-game sweep. That one came out actually off of 2 home runs, Chase Fontaine in the 9th and then Johnny Woodard in the 10th. Was able to put the Pacifics on top. That was just a great game.
It was a fantastic game. They found that wind tunnel out in left center field.
So we are moments away from first pitch here. Let's talk a little bit about the pitching matchup that we're going to be seeing today in this game. Pacifics are going to be throwing Chris Shaw. Shaw is going to be very solid for them on the year, a 3-0 record. And he's going to be countered by Chad Blackwell for Maui, a 2-4 record for him on the year.
It's going to be a great matchup. I hope Christian gets back to throwing the ball the way he should. He's been struggling a little bit, but I got faith.
In his last timeout, he did pitch well. He got a no decision in that game. But he had to rely on the fastball a little bit too much. And his breaking stuff wasn't there. And he did end up, he pitched well. He had those couple runs that he gave up, but he did come back. Ended up getting the no decision, put his team in a place where they could at least win the game.
I was sitting out here for his bullpen the other day. He was much happier with his stuff. I hope it'll translate.
Well, Scholl, who is a fan of Superman and Man of Steel, he was a huge fan of that movie. Hopefully his stuff will be not superhero-esque. I don't need that to the Pacifics, but they do need something out of him today to keep this home winning streak alive. As I said, 14 games, a very impressive home start for the Pacifics in this, I was about to say young 2013 season. We're almost a quarter of the way through here.
Maybe a little bit. I'm going to keep doing some stuff. I ran today, so.
So the field crew is just maintaining at this point for the Pacifics, pulling off the mounds by the turf, getting ready for this game between Marin, San Rafael, and Tabor. You are a player. You play for Chapman College. You're their closer.
I am their closer, yes, as of this year.
Well, congratulations. That's definitely a big achievement. Chapman, a D3 college, but one of the better D3 colleges for baseball down in Southern California.
We've had a long history of doing. We actually had, I believe, 10 straight years of going to the NCAA Division III regionals. And then we had, of those years, I think 7 times we went to the World Series and won it once.
That's impressive.
It's been pretty good.
That's a good run, for sure. But so you can definitely shine some perspective as a player. If you're a player for Maui, and you came into this series, you just wiped the floor with the East Bay Lumberjacks and the Santa Rosa Rosebuds in Hawaii, and you win a series with Vallejo. 4-2 was the series split on that one. So you come into this, the confines of Albert Park, feeling fairly confident. You're confident in your pitching staff, you're confident in your team. But so far, you haven't been able to do much. Is today an absolute key win for you?
Well, especially, I believe they're 3.5 back right now, so they need to scrap out a couple of wins in this series to stay in contention, especially with the way the Pacifics are playing at home right now. But right now, anybody coming into Albert Park is going to have a problem winning games, the way the Pacifics are playing. It's just a fact. If you're an opposing team, you don't want to be here right now.
Yeah, Hawaii, which was last week's series with the Pacifics, they were swept, obviously. They came in winning 9 of their last 10 in 8 straight. And San Rafael it wasn't even close for most of the games, with the exception of those 2 walk-offs. It was really the other 4 games where one of them was 10-0, another one was 9-1. There were just all kinds of lopsided scores.
It has been understated. The problem with that Hawaii series is we hit so well that it went really unnoticed how well we pitched. The pitching was fantastic. Hawaii did not know what to do with themselves for a little while there. It's been a lot of fun.
And the only game where they actually had a chance was really when Ross Pomerantz started in Game 6. Pomerantz, the left-handed long relief pitcher out of the bullpen, was really the only chance that Hawaii had during the entire series. Tyler Pearson had a 10-strikeout performance. Logan Odom came up with an 8-strikeout performance, which you actually just saw a few moments ago in our game recap. It was a very just fantastic pitching stand for the Pacifics.
It's not to go unnoticed, though. We did it's really hard to lose when you're scoring 10 runs, 12 runs a game. Oh my goodness, it was fun to watch. It was definitely fun to be down in the dugout.
I imagine so, because when the team is firing on all cylinders, as they have been, really the only sloppy games they played was when they were in Vallejo. And Wilson Park, I don't know if you've had the chance to go there,
I have not had the chance to go there yet.
It's an interesting place to try and play baseball. It's the park itself is not, there's nothing special about it. It's just a regular baseball field, but the environment there is very empty. Not to say anything about Vallejo, it's a different environment than you have at Albert Park. Albert Park it's open, but at the same time it gets very tight when the stands are packed, and Vallejo much more spacious, and it's a different environment to play in.
Plus, we tend to bring 300, 400, 500 people out every single game. We have the seats down in the dugout. We have the seats down the right field line. It's just first of all, Albert Park's a great place to watch a game. I love what they have done since I used to play here in high school. I love what they've done to the field. I love what they've done with the seating, the new old-fashioned scoreboard. It's a fantastic place to watch a game.
That it is, and it's a fantastic place to play, as San Rafael has definitely shown this year. 14-0 at home, 23-6 on the year. 3 of their losses came in Arizona, 3 in Vallejo. It's been a fantastic year for them. As we said just a few moments ago, it's going to be Chris Scholl against Chad Blackwell. Blackwell, who had a fantastic year last year, went 9-1 for Maui. Isn't having that same kind of success this year.
I mean, if you have that kind of talent and you have the ability to go 9-1, things will start to fall for you. I'm just hoping it's not today.
Well, if the Pacifics have any luck, it will not be. We will be right back on Marin Television. We're just set to take a break. First pitch coming up right after this.
So I'll take a little infield. I'll take a little infield. We're ready to go.
Absolutely.
44 ounces. 10 ounces lighter than, or heavier than what the MLB players use. Yeah. So you make solid contact balls come off.
Do you have a favorite?
Yes.
Which one? Are they all the same though?
They're all pretty close. Some of them don't have knobs, you can see. Some of them are a little lighter.
Got it.
Sweet. That's the old stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm Cha-Cha.
Cha-Cha, and tell me about yourself.
What do you want to know?
What do you play?
I play, usually play right field.
Yeah?
And hit in the 6, 7, maybe 8 spot.
Got a hitting streak going or anything like that?
No. I had a no strikeout streak going there for a while. But then I struck out against in the doubleheader that we had down in Fremont.
How'd you get your name Cha-Cha anyway?
He's anointed to me by Buttercup and the team. My real name is Charles Ackerley. I'm an architect here in San Francisco. And was born and raised in Bakersfield and loved to play baseball. And heard about the vintage team last year. And here I am.
Who's Buttercup? Buttercup? There's Buttercup. Right there.
Here to skipper the team to victory.
And you got that name how?
After Buttercup Dickerson of the 1886. Who did he play for, Dave? It might have been the Cincinnati Reds or the Red Stockings.
Is your name really Dave?
Yes.
How'd you get that name?
My parents.
Oh, I see. All right. And you are?
My name is Grinder.
Otherwise known as?
Justin.
Otherwise known as?
That's it.
I thought you were Timmy.
Timmy.
That's what I heard.
You can call me Timmy.
You're the freak. Yeah.
Big time Timmy Jim.
And who are you?
I'm Foxy.
Foxy.
Greg
Foxy.
Silver Fox Russell.
What do you play?
I play wherever I'm needed.
Utility man.
Utility man.
Okay, all right.
I play.
You got
ball in the air.
Even been known to ump occasionally.
How's your batting average?
Pretty weak.
Pretty average?
Pretty average.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what it's supposed to be. All right. Thank you. And you, sir?
Blacksmith.
Blacksmith?
Yeah.
All right. What do you play?
Third base.
Yeah, gotta have a good, solid blacksmith type of a guy to be there, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. How long have you been in this team?
2 years now.
Cool.
Second year, yeah.
All right. What's the record of the team now?
We have 4 losses. I know that because we're going for playoffs today against these guys.
Look, the glass is half full. How many wins do you have? That's what we need to know. Yeah, you need one more win, right?
Yeah.
All right.
6 or 7 wins, I think.
Cool. All right. So you're above 500, is that it?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Good. What's your name?
Butcher.
Hey, Butcher. What do you play?
Pitch and then utility.
Are you gonna open?
Yeah.
All right. How fast do you pitch?
Oh, anywhere in the 60s to 70s.
Really?
Yeah, pretty
Oh
slow.
my God.
Yeah.
That's fast to me.
It's not slow.
It's faster than the machine's pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. It's pretty slow in my opinion.
So how many kinds of pitches do you have?
Pretty much 2.
What, strikes and balls?
Yeah.
I see.
That's about right.
What's your name?
I'm Sandman.
Sandman.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that name?
Just a nickname. I think people were dreaming about me, and then they came up with that. I play right field.
Yeah.
But mostly I give Buttercup back rubs, and I send nefarious women and alcohol to the opposing team before the game.
So you're the MVP, in other words?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And we are back at Albert Park, just moments away from first pitch. The field crew frantically working. Well, frantically maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, trying to get the field ready as Hunter Hornstein, Pacific's intern, working on getting the field nice and moist.
It is a warm day. They're probably going to soak it through just for a little extra bonus. It's the kind of day it'll dry out in an inning or two, and then it'll be bone dry for the rest of the day.
Well,
okay?
I just got scored by Steve Detweiler.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, good old Det. Detweiler is actually my boss. Outside of the field, we both work in stadium operations, and he just had to get me. Totally caught me by surprise.
Detweiler is by far the biggest piece of work on this team.
And by piece of work, you mean prankster?
Yes.
Every
absolutely.
time someone hits a home run, he gets or walk-off home run, he gets the shaving cream pie ready, or whipped cream, I think is what they have in the clubhouse.
I believe it's whipped cream. I don't know where they hide it from me. I've been looking for it. It's the one thing I can't find in there, because I keep on thinking it's shaving cream until they start eating it.
Well, it still might be shaving cream, knowing some of the people on
Knowing
this team.
some of the people on this team, absolutely.
Well, we are, as I said, just a few minutes away from first pitch. Pacifics are ahead in this series 2-0. This is game 3 of a 6-game series between San Rafael and Maui. San Rafael, as we said before the break, coming into this game at a 23-6 mark, good for first place in the Pacific Association. Maui just 3.5 games behind them at 21-11. Their main competition in this league by far, Hawaii sitting down in third place at 13-19, 11.5 back, and then Vallejo 9-18. Vallejo, the expansion team, they were the Santa Rosa Grapes last year, Sonoma County Grapes.
Sonoma County Grapes, yes.
And they've had trouble getting their footing in Vallejo. They're a good team. We both of us definitely saw them when they came to San Rafael, and they played the Pacifics well for the most part, much better than Hawaii did.
Yes, they definitely gave us a lot more of a scare than Hawaii did last week. But sometimes things don't fall. That's baseball. And are you still getting squirted down there, Vinny?
No, I was just amazed at how Detweiler was able to sneak up so well. I had no idea he was down there, and then I felt this shock on my leg, kind of.
He's gotten into the bad habit of slapping me on the back as hard as he can whenever he thinks I'm not looking. So one of these days, Det, if you watch this later, I will be coming for you. Just thought I'd let you know.
Detweiler's a strong guy, too. Not the kind of guy you want slapping you on the back as hard as he can.
I think he's a little bit stronger than he thinks he is.
Well, it is a beautiful day for baseball here on this 4th of July. Happy Independence Day if you are just tuning in. San Rafael and Maui getting set to start. We have the Pacifics and the Nakoa Ikaika warming up down their respective first and third base lines. There's a light breeze today, possibly getting between 15 and 20 miles an hour. That's a little stronger than a light breeze, now that I think about it. But not what we can see at Albert Park, where we've seen winds up as strong as 25, 30 miles an hour that can really change the alter the path of the ball.
It has been interesting. The last week it has been blowing out, especially to left and left center. That's when you saw Woodard and Fontaine's home runs the other night flying out of here. But especially towards the end of the summer, I remember last year, towards the end of the summer, it kept blowing in and made this place a completely different place to play, especially for the pitcher's perspective anyway.
Yeah, we have seen the Pacifics do a lot with the long ball, and it's been spread out through the lineup. Woodard leads the team with 6, but Donani's right behind him with 4. Kendall has 3, Hova has 3. But should that happen again, they've also been able to do it with the small ball type of things. Danny Gonzalez has just been absolutely out of his mind with the gap shooting doubles. And that's just, it's his game besides a super smooth defense. And plays like that, the Pacifics have been able to produce up and down the lineup.
They haven't been able to produce up and down the lineup. What I am looking forward to is Hova getting back into the swing of things. I believe he's hitting in the 280s right now, which is a little bit below where we expect Hova to be. But once, you know how Hova is, once he gets started, it's not going to stop.
Well, he has been squaring up the ball much better than he has been.
Yes, against Hawaii, I do remember him. He lined out at least 3 or 4 times, which is disappointing as a hitter, but you have to accept that it is part of the game.
Baseball is just one of those games where you can hit the ball 420 feet in Houston to dead center field, which is a home run in every other park. When you get the center fielder making a wall climb there, it's an out.
It is an out. Oh my goodness. I mean, you have to carry the ball about 420 feet here. It's only 370 to center, but you got that, 25-foot high wall out in center field. Takes a good poke.
It takes an absolute moonshot to get it out of here in center field. The lineups are being read over us as we speak right now, so let's take a moment and actually go over the Maui lineup on this Independence Day. Leading off and playing center field is going to be Wei Lin Seng Chow. Batting second and playing shortstop, Charlie Mirabal. Batting third and playing right field is going to be Brandon Gregorich. Batting fourth, the cleanup hitter, Jeremy Williams, is going to be patrolling left field today. Ray Serrano playing first base. He's going to be batting fifth. Batting sixth is going to be Jimmy Rohan playing third base. Batting seventh, and in the catching duties, Nick Valdez. Batting eighth, DJ Dixon. He's doing designated hitting today, and he was on the Pacifics last year.
It's good to see DJ back here, actually. He's a very, very nice human being. It's good to see him back here. I knew he was with the Grapes for most of the season. He came to us for the end when we won the championship to help us out with some catching duties, and then now he's went to, I guess you could say, greener pastures in Maui.
Yeah.
Definitely not a bad place to live.
No, and especially considering the rotation of catchers, the battalion of catchers, I think is a better word, that the Pacifics have this year. They had Matt Kavanaugh, now they have Matt Quintero and Kevin Reinking. All three of them have just been absolutely solid behind the plate.
It is going to be an interesting situation. I know that I wasn't there in Vallejo when Kavanaugh's hamstring gave out on him, but when he comes back, the catching situation is going to be interesting, to say the least.
I talked to General Manager Mike Shapiro off the field about it, and he said, I don't exactly know what we're going to do. We have Dan Rogers in the bullpen filling in for J.J. Wesley, who has a laceration on his hand. We have Kevin Reinking filling in for Matt Kavanaugh, and they're both playing like they want to stay on this team.
I saw Dan Rogers had, 7 straight strikeouts in his debut the other night?
He had 7 strikeouts and 24 pitches, which is insane.
That is unheard of.
And then actually we didn't round out the Maui lineup. Rounding that out and playing second base is going to be Kalaika Kahohalahala.
That is my favorite name.
It is definitely my favorite name to say.
Don't ask me to say it.
No. Bruce McGowan over on the radio side, he likes to just call him Kalaika. But Kahohalahala is just too fun to say. And it's not anything I'm going to pass up, so be prepared to hear that a couple times during the game. Rounding out defensively for the Pacifics today, it's going to be a fairly typical lineup for them, but it's going to be one definite switch that we're going to see. Bryce Kendall is going to be playing second base. Derek Hale coming in at first base. Johnny Woodard, a late scratch due to back spasms. On the left side of the infield, it's going to be Kyle Denani at third and Danny Gonzalez at short. From left to right in the outfield, it's going to be Chase Fontaine, Morgan McCann, the brand new Pacific who just came yesterday.
The day before, yeah. He's just showed up. He drove 26 hours from Austin, Texas, slept about 3 hours, and showed up for the first game of this series.
And he's getting his first actions today, so we'll see what he's able to do. And then playing right field, always patrolling it out there, is Michael Hova.
Boy, I am really excited to see what McCann can do.
Yeah,
just got here.
Shed some light on it. You know him a little bit better than anybody else.
Well, I know that he's a very nice guy. He's from Texas, so of course he's a nice guy. Everyone from Texas is very, very nice. Been there a couple times for baseball. I know that he went to University of Texas for one season. He played for Augie Garrido. He got a couple at bats, but then he switched to Texas State, where I know he did very well. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he was hitting in the 300s, a very good OBP guy. I saw him take BP. He looks like he's a solid baseball player. I hope it translates.
He is here to replace Jamie McGraw, who was the fourth outfielder. McGraw, a defensive specialist who had a lot of speed, but he didn't produce with the bat. He was hitting below the Mendoza line at about 183. And General Manager Mike Shapiro and Manager Ryan Pretty just decided to say, you know what, we're just going to get a little bit more offense in our lineup.
It is the unfortunate part of this business, especially at the professional level like this. If you don't hit, it's really hard to play. And with Fontaine hitting so well, Hova in right field, and Zach Pace leading the Pacifics in batting average, you're not going to get much time.
Well, we are just a few minutes away from first pitch. We are going to take a quick break here on Marin Television. We'll be right back. First pitch from Chris Scholl coming up next.
And you would be?
I'm the sir.
The sir?
Sir, yes.
How do you do, sir? The sir umpire?
Yes, sir.
You're undertaker in another life, is that it? Or?
That is the profession, yes. I'm choosing.
Who supplies the cigars?
Today I brought my own.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's nice Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Calling the game.
Cool. All right. Well, tell me about the balls and the strikes and the rules and all that stuff.
So balls and strikes is a little different than modern day baseball. There's a low strike zone, there's a high strike zone, and there's both combined. And so the striker gets to decide whether he'd like low strikes, high strikes, or he just likes it over the plate and he can swing at anything. And so
You call him a striker, not a batter.
that is correct.
Huh.
And there are 7 balls for a walk.
7?
7 balls for a walk, 3 strikes and out. Catcher must catch the 3rd strike for an out. Let's see. Any attempt at a swing, even a, I guess, check swing is called a strike. Hit by the pitch, it's a ball.
What, you don't get to go to the base?
Correct, yeah. And once you get in that batter's box, you got to stay there. The striker can step out of the box, but the hurler is still allowed to throw pitches, and so there's no time, and that's called by the captains.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's outs?
Yes. Well,
3 outs?
Hands.
Hands?
There's 3 hands per inning, yes, which is the equivalent of an out.
This is bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Oh, well.
And a run is called an ace.
An ace?
An ace. So when somebody comes around, touches home plate, that's an ace.
You know, I'm really glad I talked to you. This is going to help a lot.
Right on.
Okay, see ya.
See ya.
How many hands in an inning?
How many hands?
Job? Job?
No.
We're here to be educated. So.
Of the national anthem on this Independence Day 2013. I believe we calculated it earlier, 237th, excuse me, birthday of our nation here in America. And what a great way to celebrate it by having the vintage baseball exhibition game that we saw beforehand and then letting the Pacifics come out and take on Maui.
I have to say, every single time Mike Shapiro is down on the field for the national anthem, he always comments how we have the best national anthems in this league, and I believe it's true. It's just a fact.
It is a fact. I mean, Marin is so chock full of so much musical talent, and the Pacifics definitely make an effort to show it off as much as possible, and that they do.
You have to thank Bananas at Large and Local Music Vibe for every single day supplying quality national anthems.
And then not only do we have quality national anthems, we also have, I would say, but I am biased, the best mascot in the Pacific Association, Sir Francis the Drake. You have a little bit of personal experience with him.
I do. My job the last year, our first year, I was the Drake's handler. I followed him around, made sure he was in the right place at the right time. You know, I'm fluent in duck sign language. It's a talent. Takes a little bit of time, but mostly Sir Francis is just fantastic.
And Sir Francis got a little bit of publicity today. He was the Grand Marshal in the Larkspur 4th of July Parade.
He was. He was very excited about it, too. I actually got to speak to him last night. He also got to go to the pancake breakfast this morning, which is, believe it or not, his favorite food. Just
Duck
a
likes
good day to be
pancakes.
Sir Francis the Drake.
Not a bad day whatsoever. He also has a bobblehead of him.
He
There's
does.
a giveaway in the last homestand of a Sir Francis the Drake bobblehead. Which, how many Ducks can say they have a bobblehead?
Not many people can say they have a bobblehead. I actually stole a couple of them. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry to anybody who sees this, but I have multiple Sir Francis the Drake bobbleheads. I am his biggest fan.
Oh.
Well, can you blame me? I spent a year with him.
I can't blame you. I mean, I'm a huge fan of him myself. I've only been around with him for about a month and a half.
He is the best Duck you will ever find. And for those of you who don't believe us, come on down. You'll see.
So we are just a few moments away from first pitch here in this game 3 of this 6-game series between San Rafael and Maui. San Rafael won the first 2 games of the series, and in fact, coming into this game undefeated at home, 14 straight wins in the confines of Albert Park. Maybe a little bit of a home field advantage. Maybe it's just really comfortable here. Maybe it's the fans. A very thunderous crowd we see on hand here today, much more than were expected by the pre-game ticket sale numbers. So it should be a great game for the Pacifics.
It's such a testament to the front office and to the community around here that we're able to get this many people out here on the 4th of July at 1 in the afternoon.
There is a very competitive market right now as the San Francisco Giants are playing the Los Angeles Dodgers, as well as there's the Marin County Fair going on. There are parades all over the place, and yet the Pacific's faithful are still here to cheer on their team.
I'm kind of bummed I'm not going to be able to see the fair this year. I got to go last year with Sir Francis, but this year I'm not going to be able to see it.
I haven't actually either. I've never actually been. What's it like there?
Well, it's, they have rides, they have great food. I go there for the food mostly. And I heard Weird Al was going to play there this year.
Was he really?
Yeah, Joan Jett normally plays every year. She comes out, and there's always a great fireworks display every single night.
I think we actually heard that last night during the middle of the game. I thought it was thunder going on over the left center field fence. It was actually fireworks just exploding just a little bit out of visual range.
It was actually very impressive. They do a very good job out there.
As do the Pacific staff here. We are just a few minutes away from the beginning of this game. It's going to be Christian Scholl against Chad Blackwell. Scholl 3-1 on the year. A no decision in his last start against Hawaii. That was a walk-off win for San Rafael. But Scholl, a very strong starter. When you have Kyle DeVore coming in as your 4th starter, DeVore throws at about 94 miles an hour, and you have Christian Scholl throwing ahead of him, that's just so much of a testament to what Scholl can do on the mound.
The difference between the pitching staff from this year to last year is truly incredible. Tyler Pearson's healthy. He came back throwing much harder. He threw fantastic the other night. Kyle DeVore throwing hard. I'm a big fan of Colin Allen, the closer out of the pen with the beard, throwing gas. It's just been fantastic to watch. The whole offense has been revamped, and Pacifics are very, very talented. I'm going to be excited to see how this series pans out.
Yeah, I mean, when you come in with Maui, the 2nd best team by far, easily, in the Pacific Association, and the Pacifics have made it not look easy as they did against Hawaii, but it's definitely been not too much of a contest. San Rafael has just been on top every game throughout the entire game.
Well, Maui has been known to slug the ball a little bit. We haven't seen it yet. Mostly that's a testament to our pitching, but we got to be careful with teams who can hit the ball. If they get rolling, it's going to be hard to stop.
And we did see Scholl last time have a little bit of trouble with his fastball against Hawaii. And Hawaii, not the strongest hitting team, but when you have that kind of work coming from Christian Scholl, you have to wonder what's going to happen with Maui today.
He's going to have to be sharp. He's going to have to keep the fastball down, make sure he's getting his breaking ball down as well. And with the wind blowing in a little bit today, the ball shouldn't be flying out.
Well, we are just about ready for first pitch here. And we do actually have a guest in the booth. But before we get to that, we would like to remind you, you have a shot here of the engineering booth. This is right inside the first base dugout behind the Pacifics where they camp out. And this is a student-produced television program from Marin Television, a community-run station. I'm Vinny Longo. Alongside me is Tabor Watson, and now we're joined. All right, so Ranger, what kind of baseball experience do you have? I mean, 1886 is a little bit different than what we see now, but what kind of baseball experience have you had in your life?
Hey, yeah, I mean, you have to learn this game. It's like learning a new game, kind of. I mean, it helps. I played Little League. I've been playing softball for the last 10 years in San Francisco softball leagues, but playing the vintage baseball is kind of like learning a new sport. You got to learn to catch a different way. The bats are heavy. You got to learn to swing a different way. You know, there's a lot of unique things about it, but in basically it is baseball. So if you love the game of baseball, you're going to love vintage baseball as well.
What's it like to catch with those little gloves? I can't imagine. It must hurt.
Yeah, the first few years playing, I had a dislocated finger about every week. And then as I got better and learned how to catch the ball and be more accurate when you're catching it, I haven't had much of any finger injuries this year. So.
Well, hey, congratulations. It's the little things that count, right?
Yeah, right. Staying healthy is tough in this league, and especially the catchers really take a beating behind the plate because they don't have very much protection back there.
So, Range, you came out and you pitched today. Is that correct?
Yep.
What is it like to pitch to a batter who chooses his own strike zone?
I don't think about it too much, actually. Like, I'll throw a high, someone calls a low zone, I'll throw a high heater up there because they'll still chase it because it looks so good even if they call a low zone. So for me, there's not a lot of strategy in the high zone, low zone as a pitcher. As a batter, I always take a low zone because there's no way I'm going to be able to, with those heavy bats, get around on a pitch up by my shoulders. So,
how heavy are those bats?
They're about 40 to 44 ounces.
That's impressive. That's a heavy piece of wood.
Yep. And they're not only heavy, but they're also not shaped as much, so the handles are thicker, so they're a little harder to swing in that regard too.
It definitely sounds very Ruthian and definitely very classic. Look, I'm guessing with the dead ball and with the different shaped bats, you guys don't see too much power going on in your league.
Not a lot. There's probably I think we've had maybe 1 or 2 home runs this season so far through 10 plus games. They're all, we play mostly in fields that don't have fences, that just kind of keep going. So the home runs are just legged out home runs, not over the fence home runs, and that's pretty classic to the era back in the 1880s. Fields were just, they didn't have walls. People were out in the outfield watching the game. So if you hit it out, you just keep running until they go get it.
Well, Matt Ranger Petty joining us for a few minutes. Matt, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of the game here today.
Sure, thanks a lot, guys.
And you were talking a few minutes ago about what a great job General Manager Mike Shapiro has done of putting this team together. He shored up the middle of the infield. He shored up the bullpen so well. Even the long relievers for the Pacifics and Casey Russell and Ross Pomeranz are capable of being a middle or late inning reliever for other teams in this league.
It is something that we had some problems with last year, especially late in the games. I know Matt Stablefeld stepped in a lot last year for the closer job, and so did Julian Arballo. He did a great job, but this year we have very defined roles in the bullpen, which is very important for the pitchers. It allows them to mentally prepare better, and also we have a very set starting rotation, and it's going to breed success, especially with the talent we have.
Yeah, the starting rotation, let's talk about them for a minute. Tyler Pearson leading the league in strikeouts. Logan Odom not far behind in third place there, and 2 strikeout pitchers towards the top. And then you get Kyle DeVore and Chris Scholl at the 4 and 3 spots respectively. 2 harder throwing righties, and then you have Bennett Whitmore, the soft throwing lefty, kind of going Tom Glavine style in the 5th spot.
Actually, Bennett is the player who hangs out with me down in the dugout when I'm doing my clubhouse duties down there. So he and I are good buddies. He and I talk a lot about, especially for him, location is very key. He's not, like you said, that hard of a thrower. As for Kyle DeVore, I'd say Kyle DeVore probably does about 80% fastballs. When you throw 93, 94, especially with wood bats, you can get away with a lot more. He's fun to watch. He has the fastball I wish I had.
I think as a fastball, a lot of people wish they had. And the Pacifics have taken the field. A couple of different defensive alignments than we talked about earlier. Really, it's just one. Johnny Woodard, the Pacific's typical first baseman, has been scratched due to back spasms. It was a late scratch, so Derek Hale going to be taking over for Woodard today. Woodard, who's been on fire with the bat lately, has hit a couple of home runs in the last week, including one last night. So we'll see what his absence from the lineup does today. Derek Hale was going to get the day off, and instead gets thrown over at first base.
Derek Hale has been doing a great job over at first base, second base, and he's been DHing too. It's nice to have someone like Derek, who was the everyday shortstop last year, to fill that DH and sort of utility infield role. Because like we said, we brought in Danny Gonzalez, who's been doing a fantastic job at shortstop, and Price Kendall, who's been hitting very well and doing a good job at second base. So it's kind of a tough luck for Derek Hale, but he's been making the best of it, and he's been doing very well.
Yeah, when you look at how smoothly fielding the Pacific's defense is, Gonzalez and Kendall, the first to come to mind, definitely, as a ball comes to them and it's just instantaneous from glove to hand, and it's just beautiful. And Kyle Donani not far behind at third base.
No, I was never that good at fielding ground balls. That's why I stuck to catching and pitching.
We'll have to talk a little bit more about your career at Chapman University and a little bit beforehand later, Tabor. But we are set for first pitch finally here. It's about just shy of 2 o'clock.
We were trying to start at 1:30. This is hardest on the starting pitchers, actually. I know that Maui was bugging me before the game. Well, not bugging me, but asking me, what time are we trying to start this game? And I kept on telling them, we're trying to start at 1:30, but 1:45, 2 o'clock. On these days when we have lots of pregame festivities, it's always really difficult to get started on time.
It's Independence Day. We're allowed to have a little bit of leeway. Everybody's relaxed.
Happy Independence Day, everybody.
So Scholl into his pitch, a first pitch strike. And that starts off the game pretty well for the Pacifics. You can only start it 2 ways, and that's not a bad way to start it.
No, I would love to see Christian get a quick inning and get back in the dugout, especially because he's been sitting around for so long, warmed up very recently with the late start.
Oh, he's ahead of Sing Chao, 0-2 now. Sing Chao heading .320 on the year. Has some power numbers, actually, for a leadoff man. 2 home runs and 4 triples on the year for him.
Well, 4 triples is not surprising at all. I've seen him run. He's incredibly quick.
Scholl's 0-2 pitch swung on at and missed at the dirt. Ryan King caught it on the hop and then is able to throw it on the first to retire Sing Chao. So a 3-pitch strikeout for Christian Scholl, and that's how the game starts for the Pacifics.
That's ideal.
I think that's something of an understatement, Taylor.
Yeah.
That was a good way to start off. Sing Chao, definitely a dangerous hitter, but the Pacifics pitchers have figured him out. He's had a little bit of trouble hitting the inside fastball, and when they just put it there, he can't get around on it.
Absolutely not. It's also great to get speed off of base for the first batter of the game. It's never any fun to start in the stretch. Ever.
Well, Charlie Mirabal takes a first pitch ball from Scholl. Scholl missing the strike zone for the first time today. This one swung on and grounded straight up the middle over the ducking Scholl. That's going to be a base hit, so a strikeout and a single is how this game starts. 1 away in the top of the first. Now the heart of the Maui order coming up. Brandon Gregorich coming up right now.
Gregorich here was the 3-hitter for the Grapes last year. He did very well, but the Grapes were an expansion team and they had a lot of trouble getting off the ground, but he was one of the few bright spots for him last year.
And this year a bright spot for Maui, at least in the field. He's hitting around 277, which is still respectable, although the best hitters in this Pacific Association typically around 320, 350. Well, Scholl from the stretch. Gregorich first pitch swinging, drives this one very high towards the lamp over there, over the third baseline, and then definitely onto Anderson Street there. That was about a 400-foot strike down the left field line.
But you said it right, it's a strike. I mean, not ideal. I would prefer he swung and missed, but it's still a strike.
So it is 0-1 to Gregorich. Gregorich has flashed the power somewhat this year, just 1 home run for him and 15 RBIs. And out of the 3-hole, you'd like to see a little more production from your 3-hitter.
Just a little bit, but if they have a lot of faith in them, they're going to continue batting him there. So, he's got some skill.
And this one hits him, not even close to getting out of the way, was he? His shoulder just kind of came in there. I think that was the cutter, and it got Gregorich right on the elbow. So now 1 or 2 runners on, still 1 out, and Jeremy Williams coming to the plate. So Scholl in a little bit of early trouble here. We'll see what he does. Scholl definitely not the head case type of pitcher. He's a very calm, collected guy, and we'll see what he's able to do here. And he misses with that first pitch. Not a good start there.
That's all right. As long as he's missing down. Down's a better place to miss, especially when you see him leave that breaking ball up and in. The release point was a little off. To get it back down's a good place to go.
Well, Scholl is ready. His 1-0 pitch swung on and driven into left field. That's going to be a base hit. It's fielded and left by Fontaine. He gets it in quickly, and Mirabal is going to hold at third base. So now the bases are loaded with 1 out. And this inning just it started off well, and it's quickly falling apart for Scholl.
That's another thing. That's one of the things he had problems with last time in his no decision. It was fastball location. You have a very good hitter, the 4-hitter. You leave a fastball out over the plate. That's what happens.
So now Ray Serrano stepping up to the plate. Serrano, a 286 hitter on the year. He's played a couple of different positions this series from Maui so far. He played first base twice. He's doing that today. He's also played catcher. Did that last night.
He's also one of the most popular people on both teams, actually. All of the players know who he is.
Scholl's first pitch to him is swung on and fouled back.
He has a a reputation for hitting some very, very long home runs. And he's actually one of Michael Hova's good friends.
Is he really?
Yeah, they hung out before the game. They hung out before the series as well when Maui got in here the day before.
Do you know if they have any personal history together?
I would assume so. I haven't asked him yet. Plus, my Spanish isn't very good.
Hova is a player from Cuba. More on him later, but he speaks pretty much only Spanish. He understands English. As Serrano drives this one into right field down the line. Hova giving it chase. This ball is fair down the line. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score. Williams is rounding third. Actually, he's going to stay there and held up. So Ray Serrano gets a 2-run double down the right field line. And Maui leads Santa Fe 2-0 in the first.
It kind of looked like he tried to muscle that ball down the line, but he's a big guy. He put that one way down in the corner.
And Michael Hova having to deal with a very saturated right field. There's a water main break under the outfield there, and he's having to deal with that. Not able to get the ball quick enough. Hova also not at 100% with his hamstring. So not able to get there, and Serrano puts Maui up ahead early.
I know Mike Ferenzi tried to get out there with our new mower and knock some of that grass down, but the grass is too wet out there still, unfortunately.
So now Jimmy Rohan up to the plate. First pitch swing, drives this one down the right field line. It's a medium right field, but this is going to go out of play off the fence. Hale really wanted that one. You can see him actually kind of turn away dejectedly from it. He thought he was going to be able to catch it off the bat. Now Rohan on the year hitting .216, which is very interesting. Rohan reached the AAA level in the Blue Jays organization. He's a .310 career hitter, so he's just been slumping very hard this year.
It's part of baseball. Like I said, when you have that kind of number and you have that kind of talent, things will start to fall for you. It'll start to turn around.
Well, Williams away from third. Serrano from second. Scholl blows that one by him. 0-2 now. Rohan has had almost no success in this series, just 1 for 6. And that just goes right on par with his batting average so far.
And the Maui offense so far this series.
Scholl's 0-2 pitch. This one's swung at down the right field line and out of play. And that was definitely a desperate kind of, oh God, don't let me strike out kind of swing.
We call that an emergency hack.
Well, Scholl's still ahead of Rohan 0-2. 2 runners on, still just 1 out in the first inning for Scholl. As this pitch swung on the ground to the third, Donani charging. Thinks about going home. He goes to first for the sure out. So a run scores on the play. Serrano goes to third base. So now Maui leads 3-0, and the Pacifics have yet to come to bat.
Donani might have had a play at the plate on that one. He didn't look like he had a very clean transfer out of the glove, and at this point, especially this early in the game, getting sure outs is the way to go.
And the Pacifics offense that has been so strong, not in this series so much, but prior to this series, they had been scoring, as you said earlier, about 9 runs a game. So Kyle Donani putting trust in himself and the rest of his offense to do more work. As Nick Valdez fouls this one straight back on the first pitch.
He put a really good swing on that one.
Valdez on the year taking over the catching duties today. He's a .274 batter. I think goes right around with his lifetime average as Scholl. His 0-1 pitch. That one's in the dirt, and Ryan King doing a good job blocking it back there. You know, Tabor, as a catcher, a former catcher at least, I'm sure you can definitely relate to Kevin Reinking in some respects. Reinking, who joined the team in the middle of the last series with Hawaii, he's been fantastic behind the plate. The pitchers are very responsive to him, and they love him behind there.
It starts with his personality. He fit right in right when he got here. He's fantastic behind home plate. He's a very, very, very good hitter. I'm looking forward to it. He's also massive. He's got some of the largest forearms I've ever seen. I'm looking forward to him getting into some balls pretty soon.
I'd say his forearms are about as big as my calves. And that's no small thing. I have pretty large calves. As Valdez drives this one into right field for a base hit. Serrano's going to trot home. And now Maui just pouring it on. 4 runs in the top of the first to give them a commanding 4-0 lead.
Once again, mistaken location with the fastball. Drives the ball to right field. Very nice job.
And Scholl's going to get a mound visit from pitching coach Jeff Russell. It's something that happens with Scholl a lot. He has these early inning troubles, and it seems like it's just that one inning that tends to get him.
It's actually one of my biggest problems too. It's why I'm not a starting pitcher. It's really hard for me to go out and start a game. I'm not that good at starting. I need to sit around for a little bit, get excited before I can go in and be successful. That's why I switched to closer, among many other reasons. But I don't envy him right now.
Well, you are the closer at Chapman College. Definitely no small feat. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you very much.
When was that announced?
I actually, beginning of the season, actually, I was when it was official, but I came into the fall last year expecting to be catching again. And some unfortunate circumstances led to me pitching, and it's been great, actually.
Well, I mean, have you pitched before with that, or did they just throw you out on the mound and say, pitch?
Well, I pitched a little bit for Chapman, and I pitched a little bit. I played for 1 year at college at Marin, and I pitched a little bit. I played some first base. In high school, I was a catcher only. But I came in, I threw a couple bullpens.
As DJ Dixon pops this one into left field, Fontaine misjudges it, and it bounces off of his glove. That's definitely an error on him. His throw into third is not in time, and Donani drops it anyway. So Chase Fontaine making a rare error in the outfield. And the Pacifics are not out of the inning yet. Still 2 outs, and now 2 runners on. And Kalaika Kahoho Halahala stepping up to the plate. Back to your history, though, Taylor.
Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I actually came into Chapman as a catcher. They had a catcher at the time they were relying on, so I actually played the first half of the season at second base, and I was pitching a little bit, just in my spare time. And then our catcher went down, and I actually ended up catching the entire second half of the season, did not pitch at all.
As first pitch swinging, Kaloho Hala lifts this one into right field. Hova's giving a chase in the corner. This one's going to bounce foul. So Hova gave that one a nice run. Couldn't get it, though. 0-1 now to Kahoho Hala.
So I went home, and I worked all offseason on catching, and I came back in the fall, and they told me it's possible I might be the closer because our ace, Brian Rao, was drafted in the 11th round by the Nationals. Our 2 and 3 starters both had elbow surgery, and our 4 starter quit, all in one swoop, and nobody told me.
That's a lot of losses there very quickly.
So we had one junior pitcher who was going to be a middle reliever as our Friday starter, and then our Saturday starters, who we play doubleheaders in the Skyac in Orange County down south, were both freshmen who probably would not have had nearly as many innings, but they did very well. But you're not going to have the same kind of success.
This one grounded over to third. Donani, nice play to scoop it out of the dirt in time to retire Kahoho Hala. So Donani flashing a little bit of the leather there. And that gets the Pacifics out of the first inning, but not before Maui does plenty of damage. 4 runs on 4 hits and 1 error. 2 runners stranded on base. Pacifics are going to get their first cracks at it. And Tabor, what happened with Scholl there? You said it a couple times, it was the location. How does he have to come back from that?
Well, it is sort of, like I said, ideally, he has been sitting around a lot. He didn't know exactly when the game was going to start. I'm sure that had some sort of effect. His location was a little off. Hopefully he settles down, gets back out there. The first inning's always the toughest. If you can get a quick first inning, it generally sets the pace for the rest of the game. Hopefully he'll come out in the second, settle down a little bit, and we're going to start putting some runs out.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break here on Marin TV. Maui leading at San Rafael 4-0. San Rafael getting their first ups. We'll be right back.
No talking to the third today at all, okay? It's a tight game, let him make the calls. 2, when we're at the plate, aggressive, think your swings to right center. We get full happy, we hit ground balls, we make outs. Right center, drive the ball hard, aggressive on the base paths, we've seen what it can do, and just play smart. Play like we've been playing the last couple of weeks. Good D, no extra bases, no wasted throws.
Aggressive on the base paths, and look, you don't even have to think that hard about right center, just wait. Just hold back, extra, beat before you swing.
Slow infield,
and outfield. Right field's muddy.
So particularly, I think the person that impacts the most is the pitchers. You're so used to having plenty of time, you never react. Like as we saw last week, if it's a slow dribbler, you gotta go get it. Yeah.
Well, we are back for the bottom of the first inning. Chris Scholl had kind of a rocky start here, and that's something of an understatement, but the Pacifics are going to try and get something going against Chad Blackwell, who is 2-4 on the year with a 3.5 ERA, and he looks like a tall, lanky, low 3/4 angle there, so we'll see what the Pacifics are able to do against him.
If his numbers are any indication, he's not got overpowering stuff. I believe he's only got 29 strikeouts and 45 1/3. With that low 3/4 arm angle, I believe he's just going to try and pitch the contact, get some ground balls, and get a lot of quick outs.
Well, something the Pacifics most of them are dead fastball hitters. You see it throughout the heart of the order. Michael Hova, Johnny Woodard, Bryce Kendall, Kyle Donani, they're all dead fastball hitters. If you throw a fastball, you can't sneak it by them. So we'll see whether Blackwell's able to come in with a lot of junk, and we'll see if that's able to affect the Pacifics enough to keep this lead.
The Pacifics do have a lot of very professional hitters. Actually been learning a lot sitting down in the dugout, so they will adjust if they absolutely have to. And Bryce Kendall just got clipped with the first pitch.
Well, that's not a bad way to start. Kendall looks like he's totally fine.
I think it just got some pant leg, which is ideal, especially as a hitter. Getting hit in the jersey is the best. You get first base, doesn't hurt.
Yeah, and it's not a cheap rule because it does hit you, but it's like you said, it's the best way to do it. There are no bruises the next day. Granted, there are no stories to go along with it, but
you can just tell everybody you got hit in the back or something and brag about it later.
Well, Steve Detweiler, who was hit in the early goings of the Hawaii series, had a nice bruise on his thigh after that, and he hesitated to show nobody. I counted 30 times throughout a 4-hour span when he just showed it off to people.
He and Matt Quintero have been trading battle stars. Matt Quintero got hit 4 times in the 2 games he played last week.
My goodness. Well, Derek Hale, that one was for a ball there. Hale exercising the eye. 1-0.
Derek Hale is one of the more patient hitters on this team, but he is not afraid to swing when he's ahead in the count. Tells me constantly, he says, you're going to give me a 3-1 fastball over the middle of the plate, I'm going to try and do some damage with it.
Well, he has a 2-0 count here, and he can probably work himself an even better hitter's count. 2-0, not a bad hitter's count. Blackwell going to have to come back with a fastball here.
I hope so. That's one of the things I saw Logan Odom doing a lot of last night, was not coming back with fastballs when he got behind in the count. He would start dropping in breaking balls, and that's why he was able to wiggle out of a lot of trouble last night.
Well, he does come back with a fastball, but Hale was taking all the way. 2-1 now the count to him. But Blackwell, who's on the first base side of the rubber from the 3/4 angle, that really messes up the right-handed hitter because the ball starts behind his head.
It's actually where I pitch from. I have to thank my dad for that one, who's watching at home right now. Hi, Dad. He moved me over to the third base side of the rubber. When you're throwing it, it's actually coming from behind the right-handed hitter and moving, especially if you're throwing to the outside corner, it's moving all the way away from them at a very steep angle. That's why I have a lot of success against right-handed hitters. Left-handed hitters, not so much sometimes, but, it's a trade-off.
Yeah, something that Dan Rogers also does for the Pacifics. We were actually on the mound looking at his steps later, where his foot placement is. He stands on the third base side, and then his foot goes all the way down as Hale grounds this one into right field for a base hit. Kendall's going to hold at second, so the Pacifics are going to have 2 on with nobody out, and they're getting their offense going just as Maui did in the top half.
This is ideal right here. We got Hova coming up, first and second, nobody out. But going back to Dan Rogers, I didn't watch any. He showed up and he pitched live before I ever saw one of his bullpens, and he steps about a good foot towards third base. He could almost legally pick to third base. It's one of the more incredible things I've ever seen, and he slings it all the way back to home plate. I don't know. I would throw it into the dugout personally, but that's just me.
Hova badly misses at that curveball. He was fooled completely. But Dan Rogers, it's almost Dontrell Willis-esque. It's kind of like a hybrid between Dontrell Willis and Juan Marichal. It's his motion, and it's just the high leg kick, the very closed stance, and it's a miracle how he's able to move the fastball and the breaking balls over the plate. It's a pleasure to watch.
I do miss watching the old Dontrell back when he was a Marlin, throwing low to mid 90s with arms and limbs flying all over the place when he was pitching.
Well, Hova grounds this one to the right side. That's past the diving Serrano at first. Kendall rounding third, keeps his helmet on. The throw in from right is not going to be nearly in time. It goes to third actually, and Hale is gunned down as he was trying to extend himself over to third base. So Hova gets himself an RBI single, but at the cost of Hale being thrown out at third. Hova's at first with 1 away in the bottom of the first inning.
That is great awareness by the right fielder for Maui to come up, realize he's got no play at home plate, and to make a very impressive throw right on the dime to third base to get Hale. It's one of those things, as a backside runner, you just assume you're safe going around second base into third, and next thing you know, you're thrown out by 10 feet.
Credit Brandon Gregorich for that. That was a very impressive display of defense right there. Sent out to Nani at the plate. First pitch breaking ball, exactly the same thing that Michael Hova did. Donani not even close to that. And we can talk about how they're dead red fastball hitters all day, but Blackwell definitely working backwards a little bit, establishing that breaking ball. That's a good thing for him to do early.
If you can establish a breaking ball early, it's just going to make your fastball that much better.
Donani lifts this one very high and really shallow. It's going to be a mirror ball right behind the bag at second to make the catch. So Donani gets an unproductive out. 2 away. Hova still at first. And Chase Fontaine moved up in the order because of Johnny Ward's scratch today. Going to be coming to the plate.
I'm okay with that. He's been swinging the bat very well recently. I think he'll fit in the 5-hole just fine.
In fact, Fontaine, the hottest hitter on the Pacifics at the moment. He's 10 for his last 25, including that 1 home run that we saw against Hawaii to tie the game in the bottom of the ninth.
If you guys weren't here for that one, that was an absolute laser beam opposite field home run. That's when you know you're swinging the bat really well, when you're driving the ball the other way, especially out over in left center field by the old dugouts on the softball field.
That is the deepest part of the ballpark. So dead center field is measured at 370, but in the corners by the dugouts, it actually goes back about another 10 feet. So that's around 380, 385. And like you said, Fontaine's shot was just an absolute laser. I didn't know if it was going to go over until it actually went out. As he lifts this one foul, the count's 1-2 to him. Blackwell's ahead.
It's mostly fastball, breaking ball so far. I know personally as a right-handed pitcher, it's always nice to have that changeup going away to lefties, because breaking ball is going into their swing a little bit. If you don't get it all the way in and you leave it out over the plate, that's when they do a lot of damage. There's that back foot breaking ball right there.
And Fontaine is just going to leave it there. That's a veteran hitter's take pitch right there, because that's an easy pitch to swing at.
Especially if you have a very hard breaking slider. You throw that one right around the belt on the inside corner, they swing at it, next thing they know it's underneath their hands and going for their back foot. It's a great strikeout pitch.
Well, Fontaine takes a 2-2 pitch. That was just off the inside corner. Did not miss by much.
That's why I'm not a professional baseball player right there. I would have swung at that.
That was about a 90-mile-an-hour fastball just off the inside corner. How Fontaine took that, I have no idea.
Yeah, sometimes you're looking for something else. It's called a paralyzer fastball. When you're looking for something a little bit slower and you get a fastball, you can't even get the bat off your shoulder and you just pray it's not strike 3.
Well, Fontaine lifted that changeup out of play behind home plate. A full count to him with 2 away. Hova at first base still. Had a chance to, he already drove in 1 run. Derek Hale was thrown out of third on the play. As Fontaine grounds this one foul down the right field line. Count's going to remain 3-2.
Fontaine will wear you out. He is one of those guys that has the ability. He has power, but he also has the ability to really shorten up and, as a pitcher, really wear you out. Fouling off some decent pitches here.
And Blackwell comes to the plate. Fontaine takes just off the inside corner. He danced out of the way of it, but he gets himself a walk, so the Pacific's now maybe with a 2-out rally going, and Danny Gonzalez stepping to the plate. And here's a fun little fact about Danny Gonzalez. He's second on the team in RBIs, and he's their shortstop.
With the exception of Starlin Castro and Derek Jeter, that's very rare in baseball everywhere.
Exactly, and the number 1 RBI man for the Pacifics is actually Price Kendall at second. Talk about even rarer.
That is very rare, especially Price Kendall leading off. That is a testament to how well the bottom of the Pacific's order is doing, getting on base and coming around all the time, scoring up and down the lineup.
Well, Gonzalez facing an 0-1 count, dribbles this one foul behind him. Count 0-2.
Recently, Danny has had a little bit of trouble with the play. He's had a little bit of a struggle with some bad calls, first of all, and also some unfortunate breaks on hits and stuff. But he has been hitting very well. He has a nose for RBIs, so hopefully we'll come through right here with 2 outs.
And this will be a clutch situation for him to do so as he takes this pitch off the outside corner for a ball. That one didn't miss by much either. The strike zone kind of variable, almost it seems like.
Especially these last couple of days. We've had yesterday, for example, our strike zone started very tight for the first couple innings and then began to balloon, and a lot of the players were starting to complain about it towards the end of the game.
Ooh, this one hits Gonzalez straight on the shoulder, and that just sounded very painful. That's the second batter Blackwell's hit in this inning. And that, we heard that one from here.
Yeah, unlike Price Kendall, he didn't get away with just a jersey on that one, unfortunately.
Well, talk about stories. That one's probably going to leave some seam marks on Gonzalez's shoulder. He looks all right.
I'll ask him about it later, don't worry.
Well, Gonzalez one is just the nicest guys. Very soft-spoken.
Very soft-spoken.
But just a really nice guy. I've never heard him say anything cruel, mean, or otherwise about anybody.
Very nice guy, very good work ethic. He and Kyle Donani are always out early along with Derek Hale getting their extra ground balls before batting practice. He is very fun to watch defensively. Very, very fun to watch. Very smooth and can absolutely pick a ground ball.
So now Kevin Reinking with a chance to help out his new team. The bases are loaded with 2 away, and Reinking has a chance to be a hero here and narrow this Maui deficit. As first pitch, fastball nips the outside corner. That one was a ball to Danny Gonzalez about 20 seconds ago.
You know, I'm not going to make a comment on that one. We've had a problem with strike zones. Hopefully it's just a fluke.
Reinking grounds this one down the third base line and foul that Hova had to jump over.
As a former catcher, I have to say I'm not really that concerned if a strike zone's good or bad. I'm more concerned if it's consistent, especially as a hitter, as a pitcher. You know, if you're going to be consistently, I mean, bad is the wrong word, but you know, if you're gonna give a pitch off the plate all game, give it all game. It's when it disappears randomly that you start to struggle a little bit.
And some of the Pacific's catchers are usually so good at framing up the pitches when they're near the corners. Is that breaking ball froze Reinking completely, but you know, Matt Quintero especially and Reinking, they use a lot of ankle roll and they move their body into position to make a ball look like a strike.
They do a very, very good job behind the plate. It's such a luxury to have so many quality catchers on one team.
As Reinking definitely was not looking breaking ball there, but he's able to hold up on that one.
See, that's one of those breaking balls, though, that's already starting off the plate. When you're ahead in the count as a pitcher, that's really frustrating to yank a breaking ball that badly.
So Reinking with a 2-2 count against him has a chance to put his team closer to Maui's total as he lifts this one foul down the first base line. Serrano's giving a chase. He's over by the bullpen, and this one is going to land out of play. So Reinking gets second life. The wind might have had a hand in that one. It's blowing from left to right right now with a decent strength, so maybe that one pushed it out of play.
It is going to take a very decent stroke to get one out to left today, which is very rare here at Albert Park. The ball does normally fly out to left. We actually, last year, had to install some nets on the tennis courts behind left field because the tennis players were getting tired of so many batting practice home runs almost hitting them.
Well, Reinking drives this one right at Rohan at third base. He hit that one on the nose. But Rohan just in the right place at the right time, retires it. Pacifics chip away at the lead, but not a whole ton of production from them. 1 run, 2 hits, and the bases are left stranded.
Hey, a run is a run. It's a good place to start. Lots of good swings, lots of good at-bats. Hopefully it'll carry over.
Absolutely, and
more importantly, what we need is a shutdown inning right here from Christian Scholl.
Absolutely. If you're coming out as Christian Scholl right now, are you looking to just get the ball over the plate and start it that way, or are you looking for strikeout stuff?
I'm not looking for strikeout stuff. You don't want to be so much over the plate. You want to just get back to throwing some quality pitches. Get it down, get some ground balls, get some weak fly balls. Get back in the dugout. Think about getting, if you got your good stuff and you start getting a lot of strikeouts, the one byproduct of that is a very high pitch count and a very short day. So, with the struggle in the first inning for him, it's going to be probably some two seams, run the ball in a little bit, maybe break a bat, get some ground balls, and get back in the dugout.
Well, Maui is set to bat around. Kahoho Halahala was their 9th place hitter, and he was the last person to be retired in the top of the first inning, excuse me. So they're going to be starting at the top of the order with Waylon Singh Chow. He is a left-handed hitter, but he did strike out last time, so maybe Scholl going to be able to start off in a positive way in this inning as well.
I hope so. The other thing, too, is I'm hoping we're going to start playing a little bit better defense behind him. That error by Fontaine it's one of those things that on the mound, obviously you can't get mad at it because errors happen. They're part of the game. But when you're struggling a little bit, it's like, man, just give me something, man.
Yeah, Fontaine, that was a rare play for him. Usually he's very smooth in
very
left field.
solid. A converted second baseman, we might add. He's outfield work is a project. He's been doing very well, especially filling in for Zach Pace, who's had hamstring problems with Matt Cavanaugh, our other catcher. But you know, I doubt it's going to happen again. But yeah,
sometimes one is enough.
Yes, especially when you're struggling. When it rains, it pours.
Yeah. Well, we'll see whether Scholl is able to get himself a solid, quick ending here. It'd definitely be helpful for him, morale. Everything, just for the Pacifics in general, just to be able to get out of this top of the second very quickly, come back in the bottom of the first, get the bats hacking, and try and chip away at this lead a little bit more. Now, Singh Chow, who always plays center field for Maui, takes the first pitch strike. And that was a big pitch for Scholl there. Coming back with a first pitch strike was huge.
Getting ahead is very important. If you ask any big league pitcher, one of the keys to success, if they has a great game, he's going to say, I got ahead early and I able to stay ahead. When you're pitching from behind the whole game, I believe that Mike Rupo and Dwayne Kuiper throw around the word count leverage a lot. You know, when
this one's leaped out and caught by Bryce Kendall. Kendall got about 1.5 feet off of the ground there. That was a heck of a play by Kendall to save Scholl a hit.
That's the kind of defense I'm talking about. That's the kind of defense that leads to quick innings, getting you back in the dugout, and it also leads to momentum being swung back your way. What I was saying about count leverage is, you know, if you're constantly pitching from behind, the hitter gets to be more selective. He's going to be sitting on more fastballs, and he's going to be more successful.
So Charlie Mirabal at the plate takes the first pitch breaker off the outside. Mirabal singled and later scored in his last time out. The Scholl's 1-0 pitch. This one a changeup on the inside corner for a strike. That was a good pitch. A little bit dangerous, but
A little bit dangerous, but the umpire seems to be thinking quite a long time about these strike calls on the inside corner. Came right back inside again. Nice pitch.
yeah, Scholl using that, using the inside corner, not afraid to try and back off the left-handed hitting Mirabal.
If I'm Scholl right now, I got a little bit of momentum. I'm going to keep getting the ball and getting it back to home plate as quickly as possible. Hopefully get a couple of quick outs.
Well, Mirabal with a 2-2 count to him. And Scholl is ready. This one just missed the inside. Ryan King definitely made that one look like a strike. I thought it was a strike from here.
I think that's very similar to the pitch Chase Fontaine took twice. So, but like I said, consistency is preferable.
Sing Chao staying alive with that swing. Absolutely right. As a former catcher, I got to agree with you. We had an umpire in my league when I was in high school who every game, didn't matter where we were, who was pitching, 1.5 feet off the plate on the outside corner was a strike. As that pitch a couple inches off the outside corner for a ball. But we called him Monopoly Man because he had the Monopoly style glasses. He looked just like the guy, mustache and everything. It was hilarious. But every single game, off the outside plate, oh, it's a strike.
As a catcher, I loved that until I got to home plate and I was hitting, and then I suddenly wasn't such a big fan of it anymore.
Or you just pray that the pitcher doesn't go with the outside to you and just comes inside.
It's very true.
Either way, Brandon Gregorovich at the plate now. Ryan King snap throw down to first. Good idea by him there, but Mirabal was back safely.
Were you a fan of that play when you were a catcher?
Yeah.
Back picks?
I loved it. First baseman didn't like it so much because he was never quick enough to get there.
They always complain about it. It's free outs sometimes, though. You'd be amazed how many less than intelligent base runners there are out there in the game of baseball.
Now this pitch off the inside corner. Scholl now having a little bit of control problems again, 2-0.
Like I said, he got that quick out with the great play by Bryce Kendall, but it was squared up, and then you lose the second hitter. You really got to focus, resettle in, and hopefully we're pitching for a ground ball right here.
Now Scholl showing some signs of frustration on the mound. He threw the rosin bag down. This one not even close. Well blocked by Ryan King. 3-0. So Scholl in danger of walking Gregorovich, bringing up Jeremy Williams, who had that 2 RBI double in the first inning, and you don't want to put him on base with runners in scoring position. As this pitch, a give me over fastball right down the heart of the plate.
Just pour it in there. Hopefully he doesn't swing, especially when you're struggling. Just here, you can have it.
Do you think it would be good for Scholl to maybe just rely on his defense a little more, just try and work maybe not even work the corners, just get it over as Sing Chao goes, or Mirabal, excuse me. Ryan King's going to let him go as it was ball 4 anyway, so there's nothing he could do. So a walk to Gregorovich puts runners in first and second with Jeremy Williams, who, as I said earlier, doubled in the first inning, and that scored Mirabal and Gregorovich last time. So he's in exactly the same situation here.
Major deja vu right now.
Deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra like to say. The second walk in the inning from Scholl, having control problems today. First pitch to William off the outside corner and low. Still throwing balls.
Our own Sam Shapiro, who is selling tennis balls for just $1 for our tennis ball toss later in the afternoon.
2 runners on. Williams at the plate. Scholl fakes the second. Nobody covering there.
Do have speed at second. Not a lot of speed at first. So it is not a bad idea to keep him close. As a catcher, it's one of those things, first and second, if they do take off, it's always good to remember that you do have no speed on the backside. So if the guy, I said the backside, I mean the runner at first base. If the guy does take off for third, he's got a great jump. I used to just throw to second base and get a free out there.
Yeah, and especially with one out, if you can get 2 outs with a runner on third base, the possibility of a sac fly is eliminated, and that's a really smart play, actually.
I actually didn't learn that until I got to junior college. In high school, I used to just try and throw them out at third base. Didn't work very well. Stealing third base from a runner's point of view is entirely off of the pitcher, and the middle infielders it's also slightly their responsibility to keep them close. If you become a little lackadaisical, a smart base runner is just going to walk to third base.
Well, hopefully Gonzalez and Kendall don't get lackadaisical here. They very rarely do.
No, we have a fantastic middle infield.
As Scholl's 3-0 pitch misses inside, so Williams draws a walk. A third straight walk from Scholl loads the bases, and there's still only one away. And Jeff Russell's going to go out and talk to Scholl again. If you're Jeff Russell, what are you saying to Chris right now?
To be completely honest, it's very hard to lose. It's very easy. I apologize. It's very easy to lose track of. It's just a game. Slow yourself down. Have some fun. Pay attention to your release point, and let's just pour some strikes in there. There's no defense for a walk, especially 3 in a row. So he's digging himself into a hole. Right now, you got Serrano up at the plate, who is a very, very, very easy person to double off. So pour some fastballs in there, maybe a changeup, get him to roll over, and let's get back in the dugout.
Well, Serrano is, as you said, a double play threat. If you jam him on the inside corner, you talked about Scholl's 2-seam. He's obviously had trouble locating a little bit today, but all he has to do is, I would say, keep it down at this point.
Keep it down. Serrano is very dangerous. He's one of those guys that if he does get his arm expended, he's gonna do some damage. So it's the kind of situation when you're a pitcher when you really gotta bear down, focus, and make a quality pitch.
Well, Serrano, who doubled last time up and then later scored. Scholl's first pitch to him on the outside corner for a strike. That's a dangerous place to pitch to him, considering that in the last at-bat, he doubled directly down the line. So he can obviously hit the outside corner.
It's like I'm saying, he really is one of those guys loves to get his arms extended. You stay away from him, and
as he gets his arms extended into this one and drives it high and deep into center field, this one is off the wall. McCann is going to play it and get it back into the infield. 1 run will plate because the ball was so high, and McCann definitely looked like he had a beat on it.
That is one of those unfortunate situations when you're a runner at second base, when you are stuck between a rock and a hard place. You see a high fly ball that you can very easily tag up on and go to third. But if it falls, it bounced right off the fence, right into Morgan Mickham's glove. Now he just got 1 extra base. It's frustrating as a hitter, especially. He thinks he's just got a couple RBIs, and now he's standing at first base with a 380-foot single.
Well, that one looked like it was definitely gone. I mean, I thought it was gone.
I thought it was gone. That wind we were talking about earlier definitely played a factor right there. Last night that ball would have probably been close to the tennis courts.
Well, Scholl still with the bases loaded, jam infield played in. This grounder right to Donani. It's off his glove. He still comes home with it. The throw is in time to get the out. Kyle Donani with a clutch play puts 2 away in the top of the second and saves a run from scoring.
Excellent composure, especially because he didn't field it very cleanly, to come up and still make a good, strong throw to home plate and save a run.
So on the play, all the runners advance. Count that a fielder's choice if you are keeping score at home. So the bases are still loaded. 2 away in the top of the second. Chris Scholl just 1 out away from working himself out of a jam with Nick Valdez coming to the plate.
I don't know about you, Vinny, but when I was catching, I hated that force play at home plate, because you have to play first base essentially with catcher's gear on. But unlike a first baseman, it's not raised, it's completely flat. So you're not always 100% sure if you actually have your foot on the base. I was never a fan, personally. And plus, you got people sliding into you.
The only time I liked that when I was a catcher was when you turned the double play at first base, and then you looked like awesome.
Then you can pop right off, make a strong throw, yeah.
That's the only time I liked it, though. Every time I was with you, I didn't like people sliding into the side of my leg. I was not comfortable with that.
I was always okay with plays at the plate. My sophomore year, actually, I got run over by all-league quarterback Parker Shaw, who was also at San Rafael High School, who was also a very good baseball player. He put me in the hospital with a concussion, but that was my fault. I took my mask off and made a play at the plate. But he got me good, and after that, I didn't like plays at the plate so much after.
I imagine not. I mean,
he lit me up pretty good.
You say it with a smile now, but I imagine at the time that was probably pretty painful.
I had a nice shiner to show for it, and simple math was out of my grasp for a couple hours. But you know, it's part of the job, and I learned a lesson. Keep your mask on, place at the plate. You know, my dad was always saying, if you can catch a 90-mile-an-hour fastball with it on, you can catch a throw from the outfield.
And Ryan King caught that one in the face. So good thing he kept his face mask on there, but that breaker from Scholl just hit him, came up and bounced off his face and then behind him. So another run scores on the wild pitch by Scholl. The 6th run of the day, Miami. Maui leading 6-1.
We have Nate King, the left-handed pitcher, up in the bullpen right now for the Pacifics, just got up. With Scholl struggling like this, unless he figures it out really soon, he's not going to be very much longer for this game.
And it's something we actually haven't seen too often, as Pacific starters have been going very deep for the most part.
It is very rare. It's unfortunate. Oh.
As Valdez waves and misses at that one, not even close. That was just a bad swing and a good pitch by Scholl. So he gets out of it with minimal damage, 2 runs on just 1 hit.
It is really unfortunate, that ball to the backstop. As a catcher, when a pitcher spikes a curveball like that, it tends to hop up really high, hit him right off the mask, and when it hits your face mask, you have no control over where the ball's going, regardless of how good your block form was. And ricocheted, and there's a run.
Well, so it is a 6-1 Maui lead over the Pacifics. The first time in this series that they've been down in this way.
It's the first time since, I think, we were behind in that game we walked off, but it's been a rare thing for the Pacifics to be behind in any baseball game recently.
And Chad Blackwell, if he continues to pitch as he has been, he cruised. Well, didn't quite cruise in the first inning. Pacifics did plate 1, but compared to how Scholl is pitching, that 5-run lead looks enormous.
Well, right now, if you're Blackwell, you got a big lead, and pitching with the big lead, especially as a starter early in the game, is ideal. You don't have to be that fine. You can go right after them. You can let the hitters get themselves out. A couple of hits aren't a big deal. It's really a good place to be in, especially this early in the game.
And Blackwell, he knows what he's doing. And we'll get more on Blackwell later. We're going to take a quick break here on Marin TV. We'll be right back. Pacifics are down 6-1.
Whoops.
That was innovation. That's right. Took the Three Stooges to come in.
Bottom of the second. Already down quickly, 0-1.
Zach Pace has been, it was really unfortunate. He came out and he was hitting over 500 for the first couple of series of this season, and then he had that hamstring problem, and it's really hard when you go from hitting every day and hitting very well to getting very inconsistent at bats and sitting around. When you're hot, and sitting down is the quickest and easiest way to make sure that goes away.
And gone away it has, hitting 364 he is now on the season. At his high point, he was exactly 200 points higher, and he was leading the world in batting average at that point. And you know, Mike Shapiro said he can't get out if he tried, which was almost true at that point.
I believe he had a game earlier in the season. He drew 5 walks.
Yeah, set a Pacific Association record. Isn't able to walk his way on there as Serrano made a good play down the line. 0-1, or not 0-1, 1 out. Excuse me.
For a big guy, Serrano got a pretty good jump on that ball. I thought that was going to hook down the line.
So Zach Pace grounds out. Now Morgan Micken, excuse me.
I haven't quite figured it out yet, and I've been in the locker room with him every day.
I was confused by Kickham, the Giants rookie starter, who for some reason was in my head at the moment, but Micken, who's getting his first at-bat as a Pacific. We'll see what he does.
I'm actually very excited about this. He's a great guy, and he's got great numbers. He actually straight out of college. Mike Shapiro was commenting about that. You know, Mike's not a big fan of signing guys who haven't had a whole lot of professional experience before, but he got a great recommendation for him, so here he is.
And the 2-0 pitch to him.
Changeup.
And changeup and a beauty. He checked his swing at it, and it's now 2-1 to him.
That's one of those things as a hitter when you get a 2-0 changeup and you're just like, really, man? Come on.
Well, he swings and grounds this one. It's a high chopper to first. Serrano over to field it. The play at the bag in time, says the field umpire. That was very close, as Micken was not far behind that.
I got a feel for Mickham a little bit, though. He hasn't not had very many live at-bats. You can take as much BP as you want, but you know, you get someone on the mound throwing 90 miles an hour at you, it's a completely different beast.
Well, Bryce Kendall ready to get up for his second at-bat of the day. Kendall in his first at-bat was hit and then scored the Pacific's only run so far on the Hova single.
Well, hit's a strong word. Hit by pitch is a very strong word. He got nicked.
Skimmed, maybe?
Either way, he's on first base, so he's not going to complain about it.
Well, he was taking that first pitch all the way. It's a habit that Price seems to do a lot. He seems to just always, no matter what, take the first pitch.
I was never a fan. I always liked swinging. I got into a habit recently where I was not, and he just got hit again. Unbelievable.
Right on the thigh. That was a front door breaking ball that didn't really front door too much. Kind of just stayed inside there. That's the third hit batter of the game for Black.
In the bottom of the second
Blackwell.
already. It's not that one had no intent behind it. Breaking ball, just it backed up on him a little bit, meaning we call it launching it when you kind of don't get it out in front a little bit. You release it too close to your ear and you launch it up towards a right-handed hitter. It doesn't break, and that's a result right there.
And you saw Kendall was a little bit, he just didn't know whether to get out of the way of either that or he was just letting it hit him. But we talked about that angle earlier with Blackwell coming off from behind the right-handed hitter, and it's tough to read. Is that ball actually going to break over the plate? Is it going to break inside? As Kendall faked going there, the ball gets away from Valdez behind the plate, so Kendall is going to trot down to second base. He has himself in scoring position.
That is always one of my favorite things is when you get hit by a pitch, the first thing you do is steal second base on the first pitch. But, you know, he faked the steal, but the ball went to the backstop anyway. But I was saying about Price, who always takes that first pitch. If you do that for a whole series, especially if you're very deliberate about taking the first pitch, around Game 4 or Game 5, you can sneak a first pitch swing in there and you get a fastball right down the middle. I don't have the patience to do that personally, but it works. I've seen it work.
It's actually an old Ted Williams trick. He was, for years, devoted, taking the first pitch no matter what, and then one game, I believe, was against the Baltimore Orioles. The guy threw him a first pitch fat one down the middle, and he hit it about 525 feet.
That's a poke.
Well, Derek Hale with a 1-2 count against him. Bryce Kendall away from second in scoring position. Should Hale be able to do something with it? The pitch is off the inside. That was close.
That is a good pitch. As a pitcher and a catcher now, it's getting frustrating. At least he's being consistent, like we said, but that's a pitch you want.
And Blackwell showing some signs of, desire for that pitch to be called a strike. They're not too much. He's been very calm and collected.
Yeah. A little bit of frustration on both sides. Scholl as well. He's getting very frustrated, but that's just a byproduct of struggling, too.
As Hale swings over the top of that breaking ball and misses to retire the side. So Kendall gets on base with a hit by pitch, but the Pacifics aren't able to do anything with him as he's stranded by second. Nate King now coming out to take the place of Chris Scholl. He completed his warm-up pitches, and King going to come out and do some work for the Pacifics. On the year, King, 6.2 innings pitched and a 5.4 ERA. So not quite 7 full innings, but that 5.4 ERA I feel like is a bit skewed.
It is a little bit skewed. That's only like, 2, maybe 3 runs given up. It's a very small sample size. Nate King's been pitching very well. He had a couple of tough luck runs the other day against Hilo, I believe, but I think he'll do just fine.
And most of the hard luck from him actually came in Arizona, in that kind of shoebox of a stadium where it's 340 feet to dead center field in 120-degree weather. There's no way any fly ball doesn't go out in that kind of environment, and King, like the rest of the Pacific's pitcher staff, fall victim to that. In fact, there was only one player on the Pacific staff who didn't have an ERA of 10 coming out of that week, and that was Bennett Whitmore, whose was 7.
Actually, the farthest ball I've ever hit in my entire life, probably, with a wood bat anyway, was in Arizona. I was doing a showcase trying to get into college, and it was November in Arizona, and the air's so thin there, and I got into a ball real good to center field, 410-foot fence, and I short hopped it.
Oh, wow.
And to this day, I still have no idea how I did it, but Arizona is not a good place to be a pitcher. Absolutely not. It's very, very similar to a Coors Field. The Diamondbacks have had a lot of trouble over the years. After they lost Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling in the early 2000s, they've had a lot of trouble bringing pitchers in there because nobody wants to pitch there.
Yeah, I was going to say, but besides those two, you can't really think of any off the top of your head aces that they've had.
I mean, Brandon Webb for a little bit, but the reason he's been so successful, and they have it now if you look at Daniel Hudson, one of their aces, and Ian Kennedy, both of them a lot of very heavy sink.
Yeah.
Heavy sink leads to a lot of ground balls, but if you look recently, their bullpen pitcher is actually a local guy, David Hernandez. He's been struggling recently because he's a fly ball pitcher. He throws hard, 96, 98 miles an hour, but the ball just flies, especially when they open up those doors in center field. Can't do anything about it. He's been getting some pop-ups, and recently he's had the same kind of success that Carlos Marmol, the recently released from the Cubs, Carlos Marmol has had as a closer.
Well, that does happen every once in a while when you're a power pitcher. If a major league hitter sees the fastball enough, they're going to catch up to it. Doesn't matter how hard it is.
Yes, very true.
Well, King, the hard-throwing lefty on the first pitch, it's garnered over to Gonzalez. So smooth as always. In time over to first to get the out.
That's a bad place to hit the ball. It's just a bad place to hit it. Anywhere near Ganny Gonzalez is just a bad place to hit the ball.
That was DJ Dixon. So now Kaleka Kolohoho Hala Hala.
It's close.
I was close that time. The PA announcer, Bruce McGowan, and myself pronounced his name completely differently on Tuesday. All of us were just pronouncing it differently. And I went over and asked him yesterday how to pronounce it. And he got this look on my face like, really? Again?
I'm pretty sure that's been the story of his life, Vinny.
One of them, and their skipper actually doesn't actually know how to pronounce it either. Very few people do correctly.
I don't blame them. There's no way. I would probably think of a really short nickname and stick with it. That's what I would do.
Well, he's in an 0-2 hole here against King as he lines this one softly into center field. That'll get down for a hit. So Kahoho Hala Hala able to get himself aboard with one away, and for the third straight inning.
0-2 mistake.
Yep, and for the third straight inning, the second batter in the inning gets on base.
That's unfortunate as a pitcher, and right when you release the ball, too, you know it when you messed up, especially 0-2, trying to be too fine and lead the ball out over the middle of the plate. It wasn't a particularly good swing, but still a hit.
There are plenty of gaps in the baseball field when you find them, and the ball is finding them for Maui today as King misses somewhere there.
Somewhere. The inside corner has been a Bermuda Triangle for the moment, so we're just going to nod and smile and see what happens.
It is lefty against lefty right now as Kahoho Hala Hala is going. It's a hit and run. This ball down the right field line and fair. Kahoho Hala Hala is rounding third. He's being waved home. The relay in from Kendall is going to be there. It's going to be a close play. He is out. Kahoho Hala Hala gunned down at the plate by Hova and Kendall. What a play, what a clutch play, and now there's two away.
It's one of the more underrated things in baseball is quite simply playing catch, and when people are running, you got a tough play. Hova did a great job to pin that ball down in the corner, make a solid throw to Kendall, and Kendall did a great job to get that ball on the fly to Ryan King at home plate. I know that one of the most miserable things as a catcher is trying to make a quick pick and a tag.
Yeah, it was perfectly placed. I actually think, from our perspective, we had a great shot at that. I think he slid in safely around Ryan King's glove, but
if we're being honest, I have to agree with you.
The home plate umpire actually was behind Ryan King, so it looked like he got him right perfectly. So Pacifics do catch a break there, and now two away. And now that I think about it, that might have been exactly what the Pacifics needed. Just a little momentum shift, that one thing.
That they have been missing these first couple innings, definitely.
And we'll see how Blackwell responds in the bottom of the inning, but Nate King still has to get out of the top. As Sing Chow leads away from second, that one misses.
Nate King actually is one of my favorite nicknames in the clubhouse. They call him Nate King Cole. Someone said it the first time, and it took me about 4 seconds to figure out who they were talking to. I'd had a pretty long day, so you're gonna have to excuse me on that one. But
well, your clubhouse manager, long days are part of the territory. It seems like.
Yeah, I think actually you are the only one who probably has the same length day as me as director of, what is it, stadium ops, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that.
My title changes depending on what I'm doing.
Right now it's broadcast.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's so much more fun.
As this pitch nails the outside corner, a little bit below the knees, but King given the benefit of the doubt there. 3-1.
Is the strike zone ballooning? What do we think?
I think it's just shifting.
Shifting?
Yeah.
Warping. We're going to go with warping.
I like warping. That's a good word. We are pulling out the thesaurus here at Albert Park today.
Yes, we are.
On Independence Day. Happy Independence Day is...
That breaking ball just got away from him.
Yeah, I thought that was ball 4. The scoreboard said the count was 3-1. So now the count is 3-1. A little bit of confusion all the way around
3-2 or 3-1? Umpire says 3-2.
We'll go with him.
Okay, we're going to go with the umpire.
3-2. King comes to the plate.
Nice pitch.
Strike 3 called on the outside corner. Nate King pitches the first scoreless inning for the Pacifics thus far today.
It was not an easy scoreless inning either.
No, it was not, but a little bit of clutch defense from Michael Hova and Bryce Kendall, able to get the Pacifics out of that one unscathed. And now still 6-1 is the score. So we're going to take a quick break here on Marin TV. The Pacifics are going to be coming up. They're just 2 hits into this game. We're going to try and get the 6 going. We'll be right back from Albert Park.
Certificate worth $50. Please compare your game-winning programs to the best service and your prize. Thank you to all the great people. Redwood Credit Union.
Bottom of the third. Right now they're down to Maui 6-1 as he waves and misses at that breaker. Not even close to it. Hova has just been fooled by breaking balls lately.
Hova is a pure fastball hitter. It is impressive to see when he's getting ahead in the count and he's getting those fastballs. He hits better than anybody, just about anybody I've ever seen. But you can get him out. He will get himself out too. It is sort of a Cuban thing sometimes. If you watch Yoenis Cespedes or was it Yasiel Puig, the new one for the Dodgers, just doing some weird stuff on the baseball diamond, like trying to get doubles out of singles up the middle.
Oh yeah.
You know, but
it's a way of life.
They are incredibly talented, and it does show a lot of the time.
As Hova lifts this one into right field, it's in no man's land. Gregorich dives and can't get it. That was a little Texas leaguer right there. Gregorich and Kahoho Hala Hala were converging there, and Gregorich made the try, and nothing doing for him. Hova's on board with the second single of the game.
That's nice to see, too. Hova has not had too many of those recently. He's been having to earn his base hits, so it's nice to see him get a cheap one.
A little bit of luck goes a long way sometimes. Now Kyle Denani coming to the plate. Interesting thing about Kyle Denani, he's the only player on the team. I deal with the walk-up songs in my spare time. He's the only player on the team who actually has 2 different walk-up songs.
For what?
For batting. He has the Black Keys right there. He also has a rap song, which name I can't remember right now.
Does it switch every inning? Or?
Yeah, it switches every at-bat. And he actually wanted a 3rd one for yesterday. And I said, Kyle, you're getting a little bit ahead of yourself here, buddy.
Come on, man. It's just walk-up song. I have to admit, I do have 2 different songs. That's because I pitch and I hit. So I have one for when I'm hitting that's shorter and one longer when I'm pitching.
Gets into this one high into medium deep center field. Sing Chow is there, though.
That wind is absolutely playing a factor right now.
Yeah, Denani knows he didn't miss that one by much either. So Albert Park taking on a little bit of AT&T Park personality there. And now Chase Fontaine coming to the plate for the Pacifics.
It's considerably warmer than AT&T Park, though, if I had to take a guess.
Well, we are shaded here very nicely by an umbrella. It's the little things in life that really help, and
we got a little bit lucky today.
I was frying a little bit away. I'm not gonna lie. I'm in a partial suit and the umbrella's helping out as Fontaine to the right side. Serrano on the bag for one. The throw to second. Did he slide under it? No, he did not. I think that's the second blown call on the base pass in this inning.
And Fontaine's arguing that ball was foul. From my angle, it looked like it was okay, but I trust Chase's judgment on this one. There's also a very nice play by Serrano to make sure to field the ball, tag the bag, and make a very good, strong throw with the runner there going to second base.
And Hova, like I said, I thought he slid around that, and or under it at least, but turns out that it didn't.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to step aside for a couple innings. Our intern Brett Kramer is going to come in and take over for me. I'll be back for the last couple innings of this game. And thank you very much, Vinny. I'll be
thank
back.
you, Tabor. All right. We're going to take a quick break here on Marin TV. We'll be right back for the top of the fourth inning. Pacifics are down to Maui 6-1. We'll be back.
All right. I didn't have a chance. My computer's underneath the grandstand.
On your mark, get set, go! Cheer 'em on, folks.
I was trying to figure that out earlier, but I couldn't.
Down go the shoes, and now the wild scramble ensues. The contestants need to put their shoes on and be the first one to race back to Sir Francis the Drake. Here's our early leader. This looks like it's going to be close. And there's your
What has
winner.
CMCM given
All of our
to me?
participants.
The Marin Community Media Center is a place where I get to be creative.
CMCM has allowed our youth to participate in filming community events.
Extraordinarily high quality training.
I'm more engaged in the community.
You get to meet all kinds of people.
It really fulfills me.
It's a very, very supportive environment.
Community media is about us. Community media is about you.
Where it's our voice.
We are the voice of the people.
Without community media, where's the local voice? Where's the local diversity?
If we want to see this happening and continuing as such a great service, we need to support it.
Support your local media center because you'll be a better citizen if you do.
Support your local media center because your ideas matter.
Because it's important for our youth. Because it's vital.
Because it's invaluable.
Well, it's a beautiful day for baseball, as Mike Shapiro likes to say, and as DJ Dixon, or excuse me, Brandon Gregorich is at the plate. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for the Pacifics? We know you're an intern.
Okay, so I work and manage I help supervise the game day staff, so all these blue shirts you see running the on-field games and the promotions. So they do the on-field games, the promotions, the scoreboard, merchandise, a lot of that they just help out, and I kind of supervise, and I kind of try and have multiple sets of eyes and manage them all at once. So I'm just enjoying my time with the Pacifics, and this is my second year with the organization.
Tell me, Brad, have you ever broadcasted before?
No, this is my first time, but I know the league like the back of my hand, and
there you go.
I follow the players, all the other teams in the league, so it's exciting.
Well, awesome. I'm happy to do this with you, and I can definitely say as director of Day of Game People, you help me out in stadium operations a lot.
Definitely, vice versa. I know you do a lot of stadium op stuff, so as much blue shirts as we can get to help you out.
Gregorich draws a walk there from King. That's his first on the day. So for the fourth straight inning, every inning this game, Maui has a runner on base. And now the dangerous Jeremy Williams going to step up to the plate. Williams has already singled once today, and he also walked in the second. This is his third at-bat in the fourth inning. Loves that one a little bit foul. Williams usually patrolling left field, and he is doing so today for Maui, the big, powerful right-handed hitter, and we've seen what he can do already.
Yeah, you can tell he takes that big, long, loopy swing from that right-hander, so leadoff walks are never good. King already puts himself into some trouble.
He checks over to first, nothing doing there as Gregorich was going right back. Now, Brett, tell us about your baseball background a little bit. You pitch, as I understand.
Yeah, I pitched for over 9 years. I played travel ball throughout high school, and, I love starting and coming off in relief as well.
As Williams goes into this one deep into right field, Hova tracks it down on the right field line just in front of the fence there. And Michael Hova seeing some action out in right field today as he's been doing a good job out there. We saw him cut down the runner in the last inning and now making a great catch. It looked easy enough, but that catch is a big one because if he doesn't make that, Gregorich, we know he has great speed. He's probably scoring from first. Now this lead gets even more insurmountable.
And you know the left side of the diamond here at Albert Park is very tough to play. Dhani in third base, that sun can be brutal, especially as we get into the later part of the innings.
As Serrano drives this one high and deep into left field. The wind brings it back, though, as Fontaine settles under it and makes the catch. And Serrano, on any other day and probably any other ballpark, has about a 370-foot home run there. But Albert Park not being friendly to the hitters today, and that's just a long out.
So King is actually working himself out of this. 2 outs now after the leadoff walk.
Jimmy Rohan off the plate. Rohan is 0 for 2 on the day. He actually had a sacrifice RBI in the first inning.
So Vinny, did you notice the late lineup change in today?
I did. Johnny Woodard scratched due to back spasms. You gotta hope he's okay. He's leading the Pacifics in home runs this year with 6. So he's been a huge bat in their lineup as of late.
And Hale's got a great glove at first base. He helped us out last year win the 2012 NAL Championship, and he was our starting shortstop for the whole season. But Gonzo has filled that role this year, and he plays well throughout the season for us.
Yeah, Hale just being a very utilitarian kind of player. He just says, just put me anywhere, coach, I'll play. Kind of like John Fogerty. But Hale doing it very well. He's played a second, first, and a designated hitter this year, and he hasn't had any attitude problems about it. He just says, put me in, I'll do what you need me to do.
King falling behind again, 3-0 in the count.
And that's not good for him to do. He needs to come in with a strike here, as that he does. A little bit of a delayed call from the home plate umpire to get that called strike, and 3-1 is the count.
You know, 3-0, the umpire will usually give the pitcher the benefit of the doubt as long as it's somewhere in that strike zone.
All Pacific's pitchers have 4 walks already on the day. They can't afford to get a 5th here as the runner is going. Rohan drives this one into deep right field. Hova is giving a chase into foul territory, and this one is going to hit the screen and go foul.
You know, he might have had a play down the left field line, but it looks like he just ran out the room as right field is very close to the fence.
Right field is about, I'd say, 15 feet between the line and the community center fence there, and Rohan gave that a ride to the opposite field, but it just ended up being a long strike.
You know, it was 3-1. He was sitting on a fastball. He got it, and he gave it a drive. Unfortunately for him, he just couldn't even it out.
So now King, after falling behind 3-0, has made it a full count, and there are 2 away in the 4th. So he does have the chance to get out of this unscathed. King's delivery is blooped foul into the right side. Hale's going to give a chase, but it's into the community center playground. Count's going to remain 3-2.
Gregorich got a poor jump right there on the 3-2 count with 2 outs. You'd expect him to be going on first movement, but King being the lefty he is, kept him pretty close to the bag there.
And King has a very good move to first base. Credit him with that. He's always able to keep runners off balance over there at first, and Gregorich must have read the scouting report well or something, as this one's grounded. King, a nice play on to first in time. So well done by King to give up a leadoff walk and then get out of it completely unscathed. Gregorich is standing on first base. The Pacifics are still down 6-1, but they have Gonzalez, Reinking, and Pace coming up in the bottom of the 4th inning. And I would say, Brad, this is really the time when you got to get the sticks going. This is when they usually get it going, is the middle of the order.
You know, Nikoi Kaike had their offense running in the top of the 1st and 2nd. Kings kept us in the game with 2 consecutive scoreless innings, so let's hope the offense can pick us up right now.
Absolutely. And it's something you notice about the Pacifics, and it's something that Stu Horn points out on the radio very often, is that San Rafael's offense really gets going in the 5th and 6th inning. 2nd, 3rd time through the order. They've seen the pitcher. They know what he's capable of. In this case, Blackwell has just kept them off balance all day. But now they've pretty much throughout them, they've seen all of their pitches.
You know, Blackwell's pitching great. He's been able to throw that curveball for a strike and get ahead of his batters. And that's part of the battle when you're a pitcher. Change speed, change locations, and keep the hitters off balance.
Yeah, Pacific's only 3 hits on the day today, and Hova has 2 of them. He has 2 singles, one of them kind of a cheapie in that last inning there, but They need to get something going. I would say at this point, it's starting to be a little bit of desperation time where you're down 5 runs. Granted, there's still 5 innings of baseball left.
5 innings of baseball.
But Nakoi Kaika has a very strong back end of the bullpen. So once you start getting into the 7th inning, it's kind of like with San Rafael. You know, for the Pacifics at least, between King, Wetzel, Dan Rogers, Colin Allen now, once you get ahead in the 7th inning, you're going to probably win the game. And Nakoi Kaika has a very similar situation in the back end of their bullpen. So the Pacifics, probably in the back of their minds, probably not in the front of it, but they're starting to think, we need to get something going.
You know, you can't get 5 runs in one swing of the bat. You got to chip away at this lead and hopefully get a few runs in the 5th, 4th. You know, just get things going, get the offense moving. Kind of stagnant right now. So.
Yeah, and another thing about the Pacific's attitude that you got to love is it doesn't matter how many runs they're down. Comebacks are not a problem for them. 5 runs, they're saying, oh, we can do this. 3 runs, not a problem. 1 run, you might not as well even be down. So they do have a 5-run deficit here. Maui is leading them 6-1. We'll see if they're able to get something started. Danny Gonzalez is going to be leading them off this inning. Gonzalez is 0 for 1 on the day. Actually 0 for 0. He was hit by a pitch. Excuse me, I read that incorrectly.
So shortstop's usually known for the glove. Gonzalez still batting .300 on the year. 30 for 100 on the season so far.
Also 2nd on the team in RBIs. Very impressive as this one grounded sharply to the right side and through. Danny Gonzalez with a seeing eye single between 1st and 2nd, and he has himself on to start the inning.
Impressive way, just go with it. Don't try and do too much with it, and poking a base hit between 1st and 2nd there.
You know, on most people, I would say that probably didn't hurt too badly coming off the handle of the bat, but Gonzalez doesn't wear batting gloves. And I actually asked him why he doesn't wear batting gloves, because everybody wears batting gloves at this point. And he said, you know, I just don't like it. The bat feels weird with gloves on, and I like to feel the dirt on my hands and the bat. He's a very old-fashioned player.
Ranking coming up to the bat right now. He's actually been pretty impressive for his first couple of weeks with the Pacifics. What do you think about that, Vinny?
Well, I mean, he's not known for his hitting. He's a career .212 hitter. He's known for his defense, but in his first at-bat, he singled home 2 runs, and he's been having a great plate approach ever since. He told me, I'm just trying to put the ball in play at this point. I'm not trying to go long, which he does in batting practice routinely, by the way, but he's not trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's trying to find the gaps and just keep the rallies going. That's the kind of hitter he is.
Yeah, just nice quality at bats, working the pitch count to his favor, and just getting a good pitch to hit.
As he waved at that one, fooled by the fastball, and he goes down swinging. So he's 0 for 2 on the day now, and then Zach Pace. Now going to try and keep this rally going for the Pacifics.
So Blackwell with that curveball working for him, you know, can kind of catch those batters off balance like he did right there and just blew one by Ranking.
That's Blackwell's 2nd strikeout on the day. The only other person he struck out was Derek Hale to end the 2nd. So Pace standing in. That pitch on the inside corner. Well, according to the home plate umpire anyway. The strike zone has been slightly variable today.
One thing about Pace to note out is usually 9 out of 10 at bats, he'll take that first pitch, you know. He wants to get a good quality at bat in.
As this one's blooped into left field, Williams is giving it chase, and he'll get there to make the catch. That one off the bat looked like it was going to be a Texas League single similar to Hova's single in the last inning, but Williams using his speed to get over there in time. Also doesn't have to deal with the soppy ground that Gregorich has to deal with in right field. So now there's 2-way in the 4th. Now Morgan Mickham, at the plate. Mickham, in his first at-bat, grounded out to first base. It was a play where Serrano grabbed the ball and then threw it over to Blackwell, who was covering.
Making his fresh to the Pacifics as well, and you know, I saw him hustle down the line, and that's what you like to see out of these new guys. He just was out by a step on his first at-bat right there.
Well, Mickham also just freshly graduated from college, and you know the attitude in college is you're hustling down the line every play or else you're not playing.
Yeah.
So he's carrying that attitude over to the Pacifics, and GM Mike Shapiro got to be happy about that. Probably not too happy about that swing, though. He wasn't even close to that one. 1-2 now to him.
That's Blackwell just keeping the batters off balance. Nice changeup right there.
Well, Blackwell is set. Gonzalez is going. This one bounces at about 55 feet. And for some reason, the ball is called dead? I'm not, no, okay, Gonzalez, I thought the ball was called dead. The home plate umpire raised his arms there.
Yeah, he raised his arms like it was a foul tip or something, but I think Gonzo got a great jump on that. I think he would have stolen the base anyway.
Blackwell been very slow to the plate today. about 2 to 2.5 seconds from when he starts his motion to when the ball crosses the plate. That's very slow. You want somewhere around 1.5. Smithman grounds this one to the right side field by Kahoho Hala Hala. It looked like Serrano might have swiped his foot off the bag at first, but the field umpire is going to give him the benefit of the doubt there. And the Pacifics go quietly in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, you know, Pacific's got a runner in scoring position but couldn't do anything with it. But questionable last call right there. It looked like he actually did pull his foot, and he just got the benefit of the doubt, you know, because it's a routine play, and you don't see that every day. But
well, the base running officiating has been very interesting.
Yeah.
As of this game so far. I mean, Michael Hova, when he slid into second, it looked like he was safe to me. It looked like he got under the tag, and then Kahoho Hala Hala on the play, the relay from Hova to Kendall, it really looked to me like he slid around Ryan King's tag. And from this perspective, we're down the first base line, looking directly down the third base line pretty much, and we had a great shot at that, but the home plate umpire said, nah, he's gone. So and he was called out, and that saved a run.
We still want to give the umpires a ton of credit. You know, they're short-staffed. We got 2 guys working the whole game, so they're still doing a great job and representing this league very well.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing away from the umpires. Umpiring is, you know, I've done it a couple times. It's no job that I would ever wish on anybody.
It's a thankless job, and trust me, you can hear everything when you umpire.
You really can. I umpired a couple of Little League games, which was the most frightening experience I've ever had in my life. Some of those parents, I swear. I thought it was a pretty blatant play. It was a play at first. The kid was out by 2 steps. But very similar to Serrano there, actually. The parent was convinced at the first baseman pulled his foot. And believe me, I heard it for 3.5 innings. And in a 6-inning game, that feels like forever.
Yeah, you know, that can be very tough. I also umpired and did flag football, and trust me, parents can hold grudges on you, but you just got to get past it. You know, I know their 8-year-old's going to be the next Willie Mays, but you just have to keep going on. So Nicola Ikaika comes on at the top of the 5th inning, leading 6-1 on 7 hits compared to the Pacific's 3 and 1 error.
Well, Nick Valdez leading off. Taking a first pitch strike from King.
Now, King usually isn't used to these long innings. Coming on in relief because Scholl struggled today, but do you think his arm's getting a little bit tired now?
King typically not the longest pitcher, or he doesn't see a lot of time in relief, usually just a 2/3 of an inning or so. He's already pitched 2, and his stuff hasn't seemed to de-electrify too much, although I would imagine he won't be too much longer for this game as Casey Russell is in the bullpen, as this one is nubbed right back to him, an easy play for him. And Valdez is retired easily. DJ Dixon not coming to the plate. And Dixon, a player for the Pacifics last year, Tabor and I were talking about it a little bit.
As well as the Grapes. Played for the Grapes to start off the season.
And then came to the Pacifics to assist in the catching problems. That they kind of had a carousel of catchers last year. Usually you hear about the quarterback carousel. Well, last year was the catcher carousel for the Pacifics. This year not the same, as Quintero, Ryan King, and Kavanaugh when he was here. Very solid behind the plate.
Yeah, catching has been great. Probably a huge success to the Pacifics so far with their pitching. You know, Pacific's come in averaging less than 4 earned runs against them a game, so their pitching staff is really keeping them late into the ball games and kind of giving our offense an opportunity to present these comebacks.
Well, Dixon with an 0-2 count against him. King's pitch a little bit low for a ball. That didn't miss by much.
You know, 18, it's really tough to take that pitch. 2 strikes you want to protect, so Dixon, you would think, would try and challenge that and go with the ball.
And King tried the breaking ball there and wasn't even close with it. And Ryan King kind of airmailed that one back to him. Something must have happened with the ball there. Maybe a little slippery. You know, I've done that once in my life, and I broke my finger the pitch before, and it just kind of went straight up. But as a catcher, that you hate to have that happen because now the pitcher got thrown out of his rhythm a little bit. We'll see how King recovers. This was grounded to the right side. Kendall, a beautiful play and a nice flip over the bag. I think Bryce Kendall made that play look a little bit easier than it actually was.
Bryce Kendall made that look like maybe a Brandon Phillips type play over there. Quick jab step to his left, got there quickly and made it look routine.
Yeah, that was Kendall always doing that because that was a good, I mean, that was over half of the infield away from him. And
he must have called Derek Hale off. Hale looked like he got a little bit of a slow jump on that ball, but then was able to get back to first base after Kendall called him off.
Kahoho Hala Hala fouls one straight into the Kirby Cove area on this first pitch. And he's quickly behind 0-1. King, who'd only pitched 6 2/3 of an inning so far, already done 2 2/3 today. And he's ahead of Kahoho Hala Hala, 0-2.
And King, most known for just coming in and getting that lefty or two and coming out, as he had 8 appearances in those 6 2/3, so exceeding his inning right about now.
Yeah, King usually the lefty specialist. In fact, last Sunday in the doubleheader, manager Ryan Priddy and pitching coach Jeff Russell went with only left-handed pitchers. King was one of those lefties, but it was Bennett Whitmore, King, AJ Gallardo, and then they just went all lefties out of the bullpen for the rest of the game. And we kind of noticed it after the game, like, we didn't have a right-handed pitcher today, did we?
You know, it's always nice to have a lefty. You can never have enough lefties on a ball club.
And the problem actually for the Pacifics before they got Dan Rogers was, do we have enough righties in the bullpen? They just had a couple of them in there as Kahoho Hala Hala misses at that one, and King gets a perfect 5th inning. And the Pacifics are going to come up still trailing 6-1.
And talking about the Pacifics' new acquisitions, you mentioned Rogers. Dan Rogers pitching very well for the Pacifics in 2 games, and he's pitched 5 innings, only allowed 2 hits, and striking at 8. And he won that extra inning game. So he hasn't even allowed a run so far this season.
And very impressive in his first outing, 7 strikeouts in about 25 pitches, which is unheard of. I mean, that's throwing a strike with every pitch except for 4. So Rogers doing his job, let's say it that way, and he's making it very difficult for general manager Mike Shapiro. He and Ryan King doing so, because obviously when Kavanaugh and J.J. Wetzel come back, those are 2 established players on this team. Kavanaugh, obviously an established player. Wetzel had a couple of struggles here and there, but definitely a clubhouse favorite. All the players love him, so you got to wonder how they're going to make that work. You can't go too far over the 23 players you have already.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough call, especially with the team heading over to Hawaii next week. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But, you know, Rogers doing all he can to make this ball club for the rest of the season.
Yeah, Rogers actually a very well-spoken, intelligent individual. I caught him reading down the first base line the other day, and he was reading Moneyball. And I said, well, what are you reading that for? He said, well, I want to get the strategy out of it. And I was thinking, wow, that's very interesting. Most people just read it for the story, but he read it just to get the ideas of Billy Beane, which is, you know, very novel, especially for a player.
Definitely, you know, us being here before the games, we kind of get to interact with the players, and it's surprising. They actually read before games and after, you know, and it's just great to see that out of a player.
Well, Bryce Kendall getting his 3rd at-bat on the day. He's been hit by a pitch twice. Just been able to unable to stay out of the way of the pitches, although neither of them got him particularly hard. Unlike the one where Danny Gonzalez got hit within the first inning, where he was just plunked on the shoulder.
Now, I saw Kendall got hit in his 2nd at-bat, and then he stole 2nd on the first pitch. So maybe a little revenge on Blackwell right there.
And Blackwell missing with that one. That's a pitch that's been called a strike a couple of times today. And now he's behind Kendall 1-0. His 1-0 delivery. That one misses off the inside for a ball, 2-0. Blackwell coming up with 2 straight fastballs to start off Kendall. Not the smartest, as he's a dead fastball hitter. Comes back with a cutter there. And it's 2-1 now.
Kendall taking the first 3 pitches he's seen. That was a tough pitch to come on, but you'd think he'd be looking for the fastball after the 2 straight balls.
And there was a changeup that Kendall swung way over, not even close to it. 2-2.
You know, he's got to be a little antsy after he's gotten hit his first 2 at-bats, so he's looking to put a ball in play right here.
And Kendall, a player who's never cheated out of a swing, always swinging as hard as he can. Has that one an easy take for him. The count now full.
Good spot to miss, though. Good location, good idea, just not executed. 2-2, threw him on away, fastball, just a little low.
Now the 3-2 pitch, grounded way foul down the 3rd baseline, although grounded sharply, and Kendall broke his bat on that one. Not happy. He really liked that bat, you can tell.
And Blackwell coming right back at him with that nice curveball that's been working for him the entire game. So good challenge pitch right there. You know, if he's going to get a hit, let's have him beat me with my best pitch, my curveball today.
You think he comes back with another curveball here, Brett?
You know, 3-2, I might go lone away fastball again. We'll see.
We are in the bottom of the 5th. Pacifics are down 6-1 to Maui. Vinny Longo alongside Brett Kramer, bringing you this game on Marin Television.
Yeah, thanks for having me once again. It's an honor.
Oh, it's good to have you on, Brett. It's good to get your insights in pitching. It's always good to have pitchers and catchers on, you and Tabor both, giving great analysis today. As a 3-2 pitch to Kendall, swung on a missed strike 3. The ball was in the dirt, and Kendall's going to be thrown out at first there.
And maybe even though I'm a pitcher, I had the mind of Kendall right there. He went right back at him with another curveball after he fouled one and broke his bat down the third base line, and it looked like he fooled him a little bit.
So Blackwell's third strikeout on the day. Blackwell looking much like the pitcher of last year that he has been this year. We went 9-1.
Wow.
With a sub-3 ERA. He was lights out last year, second only to Jesse Smith on his team, who the Pacifics tagged last night.
Yeah.
So a very interesting way that the Pacifics are going about the Maui pitchers this week.
Yeah, and the Pacifics, they just tagged Jesse Smith last night. You know, they battled, and you know he still pitched fairly well, but they were able to squeeze a few runs early on him, and just were able to pick up the victory.
Well, with the way Logan Odom was pitching, they didn't need more than 2. Sale backs off and takes a called strike. I think a lot of the players today can't really believe the strike zone. It's definitely been variable, shifting. Tabor had a great word for it. I can't quite remember it. But it's fluid for sure, as a lot of pitchers are being called strikes that were called balls earlier. As Hale swings and misses of that one, he's down on strikes. And now 2 away. The second strikeout in the inning for Blackwell, and his fourth on the day.
You know, Blackwell, like I said earlier, he's doing a great job. He's changing speeds, and he's keeping the hitters on their feet, and they don't know what's coming.
Well, not Hova, who's been fed a steady diet of curveballs today by Blackwell, stepping up. First pitch there is a fastball. Hova grounds it right to short. Mirabal up with it very quickly to first. Way too in time to get Hova, who is not at 100% with that hamstring. I can't quite sprint at the moment. So the Pacifics go quietly in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, nice little 1-2-3 inning by Blackwell right there. So, but let's see if Russell comes out of the bullpen here in the top of the 6th inning.
We are still waiting to see whether that does happen. Nate King has not emerged from the dugout yet. And it will be Casey Russell coming in to pitch the 6th. So Russell is going to come on and try and pick up the strands that King has left him. King came out and did a very solid job. King's day in total, 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, a couple of strikeouts, 1 walk, and no runs allowed. So that was exactly what the Pacifics needed at that time. With Chris Scholl pitching the way he was early, just having one of those days where you just don't have your stuff. And for King to come out and pitch as he did was a huge thing for the Pacifics. Now they just have to get the bats going and work that out.
Yeah, King definitely kept the Pacifics in the game. That's exactly what you wanted out of him. And we hope Casey Russell can do the same. Russell struggled on the year. He's pitched 5 1/3, striking out 5, but his ERA is volumed all the way up to 8.43 right now, which is second to last on the roster. So hopefully he can come in and keep the Pacifics in the game here.
Well, one thing about Casey Russell is that he had a lot of hard luck in Arizona, as did the rest of the pitching staff, and he doesn't have a cemented role in the back of the bullpen, as does Colin Allen, J.J. Wetzel, Nate King. These are all players who are solid back there. Casey Russell's kind of the guy if the situation calls for it, he pitches, like now.
Exactly.
So he hasn't had too much opportunity to pitch ever since Arizona, which is why his ERA is just so ballooned up there.
And like you said, if your spot isn't secure like the 7, 8, 9 role, you expect your starter to hopefully go 6. And Casey's just found himself in that tough position where it's hard to get innings out, or get innings out.
Yeah, because the Pacific starters have been so lights out. They've been going 6, 7 innings every single start. And really, the bullpen has gotten plenty of rest lately.
And that's just a great job by Pearson, Scholl, DeVore, and Whitmore. You know, they've kept them in the ball game till it's late, every time out. And that's exactly what you want out of your 1 through 4 starters.
And especially when you've got a nasty 6-game series like the Pacifics have every week, or at least they have during league play, where they play 6 straight days, 6 straight games against the same team.
Yeah, and including last week where we had a doubleheader, which threw the starters off days. You know, you're expecting to start, you get rained out on Tuesday, have that doubleheader on Sunday, and it throws off the whole pitching routine.
Well, it definitely did not throw off Pearson or Odom. In the last couple of games, they allowed 1 run apiece. Scholl, obviously a little bit of a different story today. He left after the 2nd inning after giving up 6 runs. But Nate King came in, as we were just talking about, and did a fantastic job of keeping Maui at bay. If you're just joining us, we're in the top of the 6th inning. Maui leading San Rafael 6-1. Vinny Longo alongside Brett Kramer. Waylon Singh Chow leading off the top of the 6th. The top of the order for Maui, as they're going to try and expand their lead a little bit against the new pitcher, Casey Russell.
And what I've noticed about Casey Russell is he tends to move fast, which is good, but you don't want to move too fast and get tired. He likes to throw strikes and get ahead, so he has an idea of what he's doing out there.
Well, Russell's first pitch in the dirt, not even close. Now, Russell, the son of pitching coach Jeff Russell, and Jeff Russell pitched for the Texas Rangers back in his day. Casey, on the other hand, didn't really start pitching until recently. And he's come on and he has a nice spot on this team as the middle or long reliever from the right side.
And his brother James also pitching with the Chicago Cubs organization in the professional league.
That's right, you're a Cubs fan. You wouldn't know that.
So I do know that.
Well, Russell's 2-0 pitch. This one in the strike zone, finds it there. And now it's a 2-1 count to Sing Chow.
And what will really help Russell out is just getting ahead of these hitters and throwing strikes.
We'll see if he does that. The 2-1 pitch. Line to the right side, just foul. A little bit of a delayed call there from the field umpire, but it was foul by inches. And now the count even to 2-2.
Russell doing a nice job battling back after he fell behind 2-0 with a couple of fastballs right here. What's he going to throw him, Vinny?
Well, you got to think Sing Chow hasn't really been able to catch up to his fastball. I'd say a fastball low and away would be a good one. Comes back and then ends up hitting him with the fastball. Probably not exactly where he wanted to throw it, so Sing Chow gets a free base. And with nobody out, Maui gets their every base runner in an inning. They've had one in every inning this game, and that streak continues here.
Yeah, and Russell already going to be working from the stretch and from the second batter on now. Hopefully he can get a pitcher's best friend, nice little double play action to get the inning going.
Well, Mirabal, a very quick hitter. You wouldn't expect him to be much of a double plays threat, but with the middle infield that the Pacifics feature and with Kyle Donani at third base, anything is really double playable, as Gonzalez and Kendall so smooth back there, able to get every double play that comes by them. This one, I believe it may have hit Mirabal there. Yeah, it did hit him. I thought I heard that, and the home plate umpire was giving a gesture there. So Russell hits a second straight hitter on the second straight pitch. And now they're 2 away with none out.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if his father comes out right now and kind of tries to settle him down in the next batter or so and maybe have a little pitcher's meeting.
Well, now the dangerous Brendan Gregorich at the plate. Gregorich actually not accredited at bat today. He's walked twice and was hit by a pitch in the first inning. And the Pacifics actually have Ross Pomerantz warming up in the bullpen. He is a lefty, and Gregorich a right-handed hitter, so you'd expect maybe with the next left-handed hitter, if Russell doesn't settle down, he might get pulled.
Yeah, Gregorich having a nice season, by the way. Batting .277 in 32 games played, so he's definitely a threat to put the ball in play here and possibly score a couple runs.
Now 2 runners on, Russell in the stretch with nobody out in the 6th inning. He comes to the plate. Gregorich fouls that one straight back and out. And 0-2 quickly to him.
And this is exactly what Russell wants to do, is start ahead, stay ahead.
Well, Russell is set. Gives Sing Chow a look and comes to the plate. This one well outside and low. Good block by Ryan King there.
Yeah, and if he doesn't block that or it gets away, it takes a weird bounce. Runners move up even farther into scoring position with runners on second and third. But nice block by Ryan King right there.
Every pitcher is so comfortable with Ryan King behind the plate. They love him back there. And he did reach Double-A level in the Padres organization. He's such an experienced catcher, and that really shows. As this pitch hit Gregorich. So Russell hits his 3rd consecutive batter, starting to look like Blackwell a little bit out there. And I don't think that's intentional, but this is getting a little bit out of hand.
Yeah, and with a 5-run lead and Nikoi Kaika with the bases loaded now, definitely looking in trouble for the Pacific. So Pomerantz better get ready quick.
Fans, every call for the bullpens today is brought to you by Infinity Marin.
Well, Jeff Russell is going to go out and give Casey a talking to. And we'll see whether Russell's able to settle down here. You got to expect that the Pacifics would pull the infield in. They want to not allow as many runs as possible. We already saw Kyle Donani cut down 1 runner at home with a very nice play at third earlier in the game. And definitely Casey Russell hoping for something on the ground where they can do something similar here.
Yeah, and if you're Russell, you know, you got to stay composed and have good emotion and, you know, have faith in your teammates. Like, let them make a play right now. He's hit 3 guys, so, you know, just let the team do what they're supposed to do. Let them put the ball in play and see what happens.
And it's very unfortunate because he was ahead of Gregorich 0-2. Yeah, he was.
And
And he ended up plunking him with a 1-2 count.
Jeremy Williams.
So now Jeremy Williams out the plate. He's already singled on the day, and he walked in the second. Russell's first pitch to him fouled off of Ryan King's mask. Home plate umpire going to give Ryan King a second to shake that off. Personal perspective there. I've had that happen to me about 17, 18 times in my life. Every time, it's not a pleasant experience.
And Williams took a big cut right there. You would think after he plunked 3 batters in a row that he might be taking, but big swing right there from Williams.
Well, Williams never, kind of like Bryce Kendall, not really cheated out of a swing very often. He does have 1 home run on the year, but he has the look of a big, powerful hitter, and obviously batting cleanup, you'd expect him to be able to power the ball over the fence. Although right now, with the wind blowing the way it is, you have to hit it to right field and well. This pitch gets away from Ryan King just a little bit, but not far enough where Sing Chow could come home. Ryan King maybe expecting something different there. He definitely wasn't expecting it to be as low as it was.
Could have been a mix-up, but it looked like he just was a little short on that delivery. He didn't follow through all the way. So Russell just trying to stay ahead right now. It's 1-1.
Now the bases are loaded. The Pacific's infield is played back. Russell comes to the plate. Curveball fouled straight back. He had Williams out on his front foot on that one. A good pitch by Russell.
Yeah, you know, keeping the hitters off balance. That was a good pitch right there. That's one of the first breaking balls we've seen from Russell today.
Russell has yet to retire an out here in the 6th inning. He's hit the bases loaded. And by that, I mean he's hit every batter that's on the bases right now. So they're going to be having some bruises credit of Casey Russell. As this one not even close, and now it's 2-2. Russell always a positive attitude. We'll see whether he's able to keep that going and get out of this inning mostly unscathed. This one is lifted into shallow center field. McCam is rushing in. He's going to make the catch. Xing Chow fakes tagging at third, but he's not going anywhere, as that one was not nearly deep enough to score a run. McCam showing off that cannon from center field. That one would have hit Ryan King on the fly, definitely, for sure.
Yeah, good relay right there. Hale was in position, and the threat is solved.
So now the very dangerous Ray Serrano coming up to the plate. Serrano, in his last at-bat, hit one to the wall in left field that, had the wind not been blowing as it is now from left field to right field, probably would have been onto the tennis courts.
Yeah, you're talking about the wind being a factor today, and for Serrano, that was definitely key in his last at-bat. He could have had a nice little home run.
Well, you got to appreciate the wind. Letting the American flag stand up a little bit on Independence Day. Happy Independence Day. By the way, it is July 4th, and a beautiful one at that. The skies do not have a cloud in them. It's just a great day in downtown Santa Fe. Pacific's not having the greatest of days. They are down by 5, and they would like to narrow that a little bit if they can get out of this inning unscathed. Serrano drives this one into left field. It's right at Fontaine, though. He's back a couple steps. Sing Chow tagging from third. He will get there. So Serrano drives in a run with a sac flying, makes the Maui lead 7-1.
So Serrano putting together great plate appearances his last couple times, but not much to show for it. Nice little sac fly there for him.
All men are welcome to come try out.
So now Jimmy Rohan stepping up to the plate. Rohan has yet to get a hit today. And Rohan, mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, is very interesting for him to be as unsuccessful as he is this year. He's batting below the Mendoza line. He's a .310 career hitter. Reached AAA in the Kansas City Royals organization. So you hate to see this happen to a guy who's usually so good.
Yeah, you know, he's struggling, batting .216 with only 9 RBIs. And as he said, he's above 300 hitters, so he's just slumping so far.
And well, when you're 32 games into the season, you got to hope that you can pick that up just a little bit. Murray's on second and third right now. Russell comes to the plate 1-0. This one gets over on the outside part, 1-1.
So after plunking the first 3 battles, Russell's really settled down after that mound visit, only allowing 1 run on that sac fly.
You do have to pay attention to the first part, though. Plunking the first 3 batters. I've never actually seen that in my life before.
You know, you talk about everyday baseball plays, and that's not one of them.
Well, Gonzalez giving the shovel pass over to Kendall at second, and that's going to retire Nakoa Ikaika in the top of the sixth. Only 1 run allowed, despite the 3 plunk batters, no hits in the inning.
And that's where being a pitcher and staying composed and letting your team do what they're supposed to do and make plays really helps out. Sac fly, nice play by Gonzo, and you get out of there with only 1 run allowed.
And that's a great job by Casey Russell there. Pomeranz still warming up in the Pacific's bullpen, although it looks like he's just taken a seat. So if Russell is able to come out in the 7th inning and keep himself composed and, well, not hit any batters, you got to expect he'll be left in.
Definitely. Same with Blackwell, who's pitching a great game so far. Through 5 innings for him, 1 run on 4 hits.
Well, the Pacifics are set to send up Kyle Donati, Chase Fontaine, and Danny Gonzalez in the bottom of the 6th inning. The 4, 5, and 6 batters in their order who have been very silent today. Fontaine and Gonzalez have reached base 3 times between them, but Fontaine was walked in the 1st inning. Gonzalez was hit. Gonzalez has the only hit for the Pacifics actually in the last 2 innings.
Yeah, nice to be seeing Kyle Donati get a nice plate appearance, as he was PAPB Player of the Month.
Yes, he was. And that's a very impressive stat. He hit about 370 during the month with all of his 4 home runs and about 17 RBIs. And the Pacifics definitely weren't expecting that kind of offense from him. But they've been pleasantly surprised thus far.
Yeah, he's a great young player that knows and loves the game, so that's exactly what the Pacifics look for here, and he's filled that 3rd base role perfectly and exceeded expectations.
And not only is he a great player, he's also a great guy off the field. He loves comedy. He's a big fan of Arrested Development. Also a big fan of all different kinds of music. We were talking about rap, and he likes the Black Keys. Obviously, also a fan of some folky kind of stuff here and there. That's more of Nate Reinking's, Kevin Reinking's, area. He's a big fan of some of the folkier sounding stuff.
So hopefully, with a 6-run deficit, Donnie can start the Pacifics off and get on base somehow.
Well, he is 0 for 2 on the day. He flew out to center field in his last at-bat, and that was a ball that, again, without this kind of wind, probably would have been in the stands, because he struck that very, very well with the wind knocking everything down that's going out there.
Yeah, Donati really puts together a great plate appearance. He gets the count in his favor, which allows him to get a few hits, which, as you can tell, has helped him get Player of the Month.
Well, Blackwell off for a 6th inning of work. Starts him off with a curveball and a beauty. Blackwell working backwards there, getting the curveball in for a strike. Now Donati swings and misses at that one. 0-2 now.
Nice location, low and away there. A little off speed. Looked like a changeup.
Maui defense played very straight away for Donati. Definitely not a dead pull hitter. As the 0-2 pitch to him. Lifted straight up at the plate. Valdez is going to give a chase, but this one is going to hit right behind us, actually, into the Kirby Cove area.
That landed on the steps right behind us right here, so a little action for the Marin TV booth.
Yeah, that was kind of a scary moment. We already had one fan get hit in the head earlier in the game.
No.
I did hear that she is okay. She was hit directly on the head by a foul ball in the dead ball game earlier, in the vintage baseball game. So that ball is a little bit heavier. But we did hear that she is okay, so everything good to hear that.
Yeah.
As the 1-2 pitch lined into right center field for a base hit.
As you can tell, Donati hit that ball very hard, and it seemed to die in that grass in right field. As you were talking about earlier, how high that grass can get, and it's a little wet over there.
It is a little wet over there, and it's more in dead right field down the line, but it's kind of a broken water main or something. Either way, it's making the field very slushy out there. Once you move towards right center field, it's just long. Center field likes to keep the grass fairly long out there, but the grounds crew just got themselves a new mower this week, and they're going to be working on that and getting it a little shorter. As the first pitch to Fontaine is a strike.
Fontaine coming in batting .267, but he's been relatively hot lately.
Yes, he has. 10 for his last 25. That's good for a 400 average over his last 7 days.
So after the slow start, he's picked it up, and now he has 13 RBIs on the year, and he has a little pop too, 2 homers, and he hit that big home run against Hawaii, which tied the game in the bottom of the ninth last week.
Now he's up with nobody out with Kyle Donati on first here. That one's a called third strike, on the inside corner. Fontaine can't believe it. That pitch has been called a strike all day, but it looked like it was off the plate. Fontaine still arguing.
Better be careful here.
He's already been ejected once this year when in Arizona. So Fontaine goes down looking, and Danny Gonzalez is going to come up to the plate.
Number 12, it's Gonzo, Danny Gonzalez.
That's Blackwell's 5th strikeout on the day. Fontaine, I've never seen him that upset at anything, and that was looked to be off the plate to me.
It was a tough pitch to take, you know, with 2 strikes. You definitely want to try and protect, but as you can tell, lefty, and then the curveball broke late, so it looked like he might have been a little fooled. Just a tough plate appearance right there for Fontaine, especially when he's been so hot as well.
Yeah, absolutely. On the day, Fontaine just not getting it done at the plate. He walked in the first inning, but he's 0 for 2 besides that, grounded into a double play in the 3rd.
So hopefully Gonzalez can pick up his teammate right now, and his last at bat he got a nice single in between 1st and 2nd. Hopefully he can do that again.
Valdez tried to frame that one, couldn't get it to stay though. 2-1 now, the count to Gonzalez. Blackwell checks to Nani. He's not going anywhere. It's a grounder over to the left side. Mirror ball over to second for 1. The relay on to first. Not in time. Gonzalez gets there in time to stop the double play. And that was a bang play. He barely got there.
Yeah, and that was a great turn by Charlie Mirabal right there. On the run, a little Jeter-ish, flip to second base, and Gonzalez had to hustle down the line to beat that out.
So now Kevin Reinking coming up to the plate. With Gonzalez leading away from first. This pitch off the outside corner for a ball, 1-0. Blackwell and Valdez taking their time, figuring out which pitch they're going to throw. Comes in, and Reinking hits this one high and deep into left field. This one bounces in front of the wall. Gonzalez round second. He is going to be held up at 3rd. That one was struck well off the bat of Reinking, probably knocked down by the wind.
Yeah, nice one-hop shot to the 320 down in left field. Pretty actually holding Gonzalez on that play. Vinny down by 6, getting a little bit later in the ball game. Is that the right call today?
Well, you don't want to make the 3rd out at the plate. You really want to avoid making any outs at the plate if possible. And you have Zach Pace coming up, who's been better. He started off red hot, cooled off quite a bit, and lately he's been averaging about right to where he is in his career, about a 260 hitter, and that's where he's been as of late. So they're putting their chances in Zach Pace's hands and see what he does.
There's Pace looking at that first pitch again. Like you said, though, Pace red hot to start the season, and he's still batting .364 this season.
That's nothing to shrug your shoulders at. As a pitch to him, he dances out of the way of that. So Pace is ahead in the count. Gonzalez away from 3rd, Reinking from 2nd. Pace grounds this one down the first base line. Serrano fields it. Pace hustling over to first. It's not going to be in time as Serrano got there and beat him to retire the Pacific's threat. They strand 2 on Reinking's booming double down the left field line. We're going to move to the top of the 7th inning. Tabor Watson going to be coming back. Now he's still leading the Pacific 7-1.
I just want to say thank you guys. It was fun to do 3 innings. It flew by, and hopefully the Pacifics can manage another comeback like we've been doing as of late. So, Vinny, I'll talk to you later, and Tabor will take my spot.
All right, well, hey, thank you, Brett. We're going to be right back on Marin TV at the top of the 7th.
And then be the first one to make it down to Sir Francis. Don't try this at home, folks, especially not in the living room. This is going to be close. And there's your winner. Congratulations to all 3 of our participants. And thank you to the Wipeout Bar and Grill. It's not too late to sign up for the 8th inning tennis ball toss, kids. For just $1, play for your chance to win some great prizes. Head down to guest services now to sign up. Did you know that High Tech Burrito was founded right here in San Rafael in 1986? Today, they're excited to announce the newest High Tech Burrito location at the Red Hill Shopping Center in San Anselmo, opening this fall. high-tech food truck in the Red Hill Shopping Center beginning in August to receive coupons and other exciting offers. Fans, don't miss out on any of our great promotions throughout the season. Tickets for this series are still available at PacificBaseball.com. Don't forget tomorrow is Baseball Bingo, brought to you by West End Cafe. Saturday, Ari Yoshida, the Mental Princess, will be pitching for Maui. And all ladies, young, middle-aged, and slightly older. If you come for a walk-up ticket, you'll pay just $5 for general admission. And finally, Sunday is the Salute to Veterans, presented by Marin Sanitary.
And we're back here for the 7th inning on Marin Television. Vinny Longo now alongside Tabor Watson. Tabor, how are your 3 innings off?
Oh, busy.
Oh yeah, clubhouse duties?
Yeah, it's a hot day. They ran out of water, you know. They can't possibly do it themselves. They can't live without me.
Of course.
No.
So Ross Pomeranz going to come out and pick up after Casey Russell. Russell had a kind of a rough time in that last inning, hitting 3 batters. He was only able to give up 1 run. It was a good piece of pitching by him, and that kept the Pacifics just behind 6 here.
It's time for the Pacifics to start getting something going offensively, man. It's been real stagnant.
They do have to get out of this inning first. It's going to be Nick Valdez, DJ Dixon, and Kalaika Kahohohala. I kind of messed that one up. Anyway, he's going to be coming up in the 7th inning. And right now we have the Pacific's bat boy, Lyle Ruman. Lyle, how you been doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, it's good to see you in a little different capacity.
Yeah.
How's the bat boy duties treating you?
Awesome. We got a good honorary bat boy today, Isaac, and he's been working hard. So, yeah.
So how did you get involved being the Pacific's bat boy? I mean, that's a pretty awesome job to have.
Yeah, so last year before the season started, there was town hall meetings to support the Pacifics in getting the field, and I was just there supporting them, and my mom was talking and I talked, and we had a little celebration party for getting the field and all that stuff. And while I was there, I had a great idea of being the bat boy, and I asked my mom, and she said, yeah, sure. So I asked Mike Shapiro, and he was very nice about it and said yes.
So do you like being the bat boy?
It's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, yeah? How much do you get to interact with the players?
Oh, a lot. I have one living at my house, JJ Wetzel. He's injured right now with stitches in his hand. But, yeah, it's great. Everyone's nice to me, and yeah, it's just awesome hanging out with the guys.
Now, what's your favorite thing to do?
I like to be out on the field. I like to interact with people. Everyone from 2 years old to 102 years old. So.
That's a pretty big range there, Lyle.
Yeah, I know. It's a pretty big range of people here, so.
All right, well, hey, we're going to let you get back to your duties. Thank you for coming up and visiting us for a few moments. You have a great rest of your game, buddy.
You too. All right, see ya.
Thanks, Lyle. All right, well, there's one away in the top of the 7th inning. DJ Dixon with an even count from Ross Pomeranz, 1-1.
I haven't actually seen too much of Lyle today. He's actually my assistant during the game down in the dugout. You know, he gets all the bats and stuff. He'll run out baseballs, but for the most part, I check baseballs for scuffs and stuff. Make sure we can't be throwing illegal baseballs out there. But Lyle's a handful sometimes, but he's also a ton of fun too.
What is the rule for baseballs in this league? I know it's a little bit different than in the major leagues.
Well, the major leagues, they're very strict about it. Any sort of scuffs or bat marks, anything that could possibly affect the flight of the baseball. Here we're a little more lenient. It's got to be a pretty, obvious scuff, because the baseballs here are $6, $7 a piece. Can't just be throwing them all out all the time. But for those of you who don't know, if you throw a baseball with a big scuff on it or a big cut, the ball will run or cut all over the place, regardless of what grip you put on it. So we try and remove them from the game to keep the pitchers from having too much of an advantage.
As Dixon lifted that into right center field, Mickham is there to make the catch, and now there's 2 away in the 7th.
Now batting for Nakoi Ikaika, number 3.
Kalaika Kahohohala stepping up to the plate. He is over 1 for 3, on the day. He singled in the 3rd, but he struck out in his last plate appearance. Lefty versus righty. Pomeranz into delivery. That was an off-speed pitch. That was the same location that Fontaine was called out on strikes in the last inning, and that one was a ball, so it's 1-0.
Fontaine gave him an earful. It's been one of those sort of weeks for Chase Fontaine.
Yeah, this one lifted it into almost exactly the same place. Mickham is there, and he will make the catch to retire the out and retire the side. Pomeranz works a perfect 7th inning, the first one today. And the Maui goes quietly. So we're going to move to the bottom of the 7th. San Rafael still going down 7-1, and it's going to be the 9-1 and 2 hitters for them in this inning. And you got to say, I mean, it's the 7th inning. Maui has a very strong back end of the bullpen. Now is the time to get it going.
Now is the time to get it going. Yeah, I wasn't that concerned. We had that slow start. We gave up some runs early, especially when we came out and were swinging it so well and had runners all over bases. But now it's time to start making something happen. We're running out of outs, and it's just got to be. You got to start putting together a string of quality at bats, putting the ball in play. Don't rely on walking. You know, Blackman's still out there. He's been out there for all game. He's starting to get tired. Get him a mistake in location, and let's put some balls in gaps and have some fun.
And obviously, you can't be relying on the home run ball today unless you're Johnny Woodard or Chase Fontaine or one of the other lefties on this team. And we are going to take a quick break here as the same quartet that was singing the national anthem is now praising him out. The Golden Gate Barbershop Chorus's rendition of God Bless America here on Independence Day 2013, 237 years young. I keep getting those two numbers mixed up in my head for some reason. We haven't reached the tricentennial yet, still not 300 years old, but we're getting there.
It's worth noting that we did have to do that math earlier with an iPhone. We were incapable of doing simple arithmetic, but it's one of those days.
I am a communications major. That is my out.
I am a history major, too. I think I passed calculus in high school.
That may have happened at some point for me, too. It's kind of fuzzy, though.
Yeah, it's okay.
All those math classes are just not too present in my mind anymore.
No, absolutely not.
My math is batting averages and strikeouts at this point.
There you go. Let's keep it that way. Nobody up in Maui's bullpen. They're going to ride him, especially, I mean, this is one of those things about a 6-game series is the way Maui's been playing. They've been fortunate to have such low-scoring games and decent enough pitching that they can get away without burning through their bullpen like the Pacifics are doing today. But the last thing you want to do is, this is only game 3. We got 3 more games in a row after this. You can't have your bullpen completely gassed.
Absolutely, and that's on the Pacifics. Usually they're on Maui's side of the equation where they're ahead big late in the game and their starter is just cruising. But today, Chris Scholl only went 2 innings and allowed 6 runs.
It is unfortunate. He didn't quite have his best stuff today, but, we know he's talented. He's has great numbers in the past, and he'll come back.
So now Morgan Mickham at the plate takes the first pitch strike. Mickham just can't seem to get a good look at the ball today. He hasn't made solid contact as of yet.
Nah, there we go again. Another changeup out in front.
This one's lifted in the shallow center field, and that one's going to fall. Another Texas League hit for the Pacifics there. Maybe that's just the break they needed.
Texas Leaguer's a nice pun there for Morgan Mickham as he's from Austin, Texas. And it's his first hit, and they're taking the ball out of play. That is his first professional hit, ladies and gentlemen. He came straight from college, as I mentioned earlier. It's a big moment. It wasn't exactly a stung, but it's still a hit.
Hey, a hit's a hit is a hit, and he's on base now.
Yes, sir.
And that's exactly what the Pacifics needed. They needed something started in this inning. They need big runs, and they need them now.
Well, we got the top of the order, so let's see what happens.
So Bryce Kendall at the plate. He's 0 for 1 on the day. He was hit by 2 pitches in the first and second innings respectively, and then struck out in the 5th.
I was actually down in the dugout when he broke his bat during his strikeout in the 7th inning, and I hate to admit it, but that bat was absolutely his baby. It was one of his favorites of all time apparently, and he's very crushed about it. And then it's kind of funny. It's kind of like he wanted to break it. You know, he chipped it and he wanted to break it on his leg, and it was so much as an afterthought. And he remembered he loved it halfway through it and tried to stop, and now he's just got this half-broken bat sitting in the dugout.
Oh, poor Bryce Kendall. Now he is behind 1-2 now, and Bryce, I was actually surprised to see him pull up with the bat because usually he's just a guy. He's gonna do what he thinks. He's gonna say what he says, and if that includes breaking his bat over his leg, he's gonna do it. But then he stopped himself short. And, you know, that's a very sentimental thought from him.
It was kind of weird because mostly you see people break their bats and stuff when they strike out or get out, but it's like the middle of an at-bat, and he broke his bat and he almost breaks it on his leg. It was a funny moment. Bryce Kendall is a character. He's loud. He's out there, and he's also a fantastic baseball player.
And he lined that one right at Mirabal. A fantastic diving play there. That's gonna rob Bryce Kendall of a hit.
Unless that ball snuck into the outfield, there was going to be an out regardless, because Morgan Mickham couldn't stray very far from first base with the ball being on the air in the infield.
That is a fair point, Tabor. I was thinking that ball was going to trickle, maybe get under his glove a little bit, but a little bit of bad luck for Bryce Kendall there. Brings up Derek Hale.
Hung up a little bit. It's kind of funny the mental effect breaking your favorite bat can actually have on you. I know I've done it in the past where you get into a really good rhythm with a bat and you pick up a different one and it's different weight. It feels foreign. It's not your bat anymore, and it can actually take you mentally out of an at-bat.
Hale bloops this one into left. It's another Texas League hit. And Mickham barely in there ahead of the throw from Williams there. Williams let that drop, and Mickham was caught halfway off the bag, kind of in no man's land. What do I do?
You know, he did it right. You go halfway. You go as far as you can get off without getting picked off, and you react.
Sounds like
good job.
Sounds like my approach with relationships, and it hasn't worked out all that well every once in a while.
Oh boy, Rennie.
Well, Michael Hova now at the plate.
Oh boy.
As he takes the first pitch breaking ball in the dirt. Mickham is going to stay at second base. Hova on the day for today is 2 for 3, 2 singles. One of them a cheapie down the right field line, but a hit's a hit.
Yes, it is. And Morgan Mickham would agree with him right now.
As would Derek Hale.
As would Derek Hale, yes.
And Pacifics just need a booming hit right now as Hova checked his swing. Thought about doing it on that one, but wasn't quite close to it. 1-1.
I'd really like to see Hova get into one right here.
He'd have to hit it the opposite way at this point. The wind now blowing very strongly, or much more than it has been, from left to right. That's a big spinner in the dirt. Hova leaves it there, 2-1.
That's one of the earliest signs of fatigue you'll see, is you'll start seeing that breaking ball miss down in the dirt, won't get to home plate. Pitchers will stop using their legs. When you stop using your legs, stuff's going to start, fastballs will start sailing on you, and curveballs will start getting to home plate.
Well, that one barely made it to home plate as well, the second one in a row, and now 3-1 to Hova.
I got a good feeling Hova's going to be swinging right here as he gets a fastball. Hova actually drew his first walk of the season a couple of games ago.
And he was swinging. That was a fastball. It wasn't close, but he saw the fastball spin and went for it.
Maybe a little cutter or something, had him a little out in front, but you know, he's not one to walk. He prefers to swing the bat, and they actually threw a little party in the dugout when he walked. It's kind of a big deal.
Poppy, they call him in the clubhouse. He's very much the leader of this team. He's the oldest player on the team, but he's just a very he has a leadership personality.
He does. And he does it with, because his English isn't very good. He's not going to go around yelling at people. He does it with his actions. He does it with his swing. I mean, he threw out someone last night, made a great throw. Very quiet, and he's very consistent. You know, he makes the plays he should make all the time, and that's as good of leadership as he can get.
And this one's lined down the left field line for a base hit. Mickham is coming around third. He's going to try and score. The relay actually goes off of, I believe it was Maribal, and that's going to allow Hale to advance to third and Hova to advance to second. So Michael Hova coming up big when it counted with the second RBI of the game, the Pacific's second run of the game. And now that lead just 5 runs, 7-2 Maui.
That's a professional adjustment by Michael Hover right there. They got him 3-1, and they threw him 3 straight breaking balls. And the third one, they didn't sneak past him anymore. He barely fouled off the other 2, and you know, when you're sitting on fastball and you get 3 breaking balls, you can either get frustrated that you're not getting fastballs, or you can make an adjustment and do what Hova did there.
Well, now Kyle Donani coming up to the plate. Donani has got a hit in his last at bat, but then was cut down on Gonzalez's ground ball to short.
Another little small altercation with the umpire there. The Pacific's starting to get a little bit fed up with the changing strike zone, but hopefully no one's gonna get run for it.
That would be a bad one, or a bad move at this point. Is Donani, Fontaine, Gonzalez, the next 3 hitters up for the Pacifics? They are very key to this team. They can't afford to be ejected at this point in the game, where they do have a rally with runners on second and third, and Donani, who is due for an RBI, not due for a hit, but he hasn't had an RBI in a while.
It's true. And plus, with Woodard being scratched today from the lineup, we're not all that deep off the bench right now.
Well, Donani staying alive with that swing. Still 0-2 to him.
What does it say on the back of Hova's helmet? Do you have any idea?
I think it actually says Hova. I'm not entirely positive.
It's like cursive. It almost looks like Coca-Cola, and I've been down in the dugout and I never bothered to look. I keep forgetting to look.
You know, now that I think about it, I think it says Cuba back there.
Does it?
I think so.
I believe that.
Yeah. Hova very proud of his heritage.
Absolutely, very proud of it.
Hova actually a fascinating story getting over from Cuba. He tried to raft over to America once as Donani swings and misses at the ball in the dirt, and he's going to be tagged out there by Valdez. But Hova, as I said, tried to raft over the first time, didn't make it, and he went back to Cuba. And then Nicaragua said, "We will take Cuban refugees." So Hova, with a couple of his other countrymen, went over to Nicaragua on a raft. 4 days. He almost died of dehydration. And a few years later, well, quite a few years later, he's in America, and he sends back money to his family every month that he hasn't seen since he was 18. As Fontaine rips this one right at field, but it's right at Gregorich.
That is just the way Chase Fontaine's day is going right now. Can't buy a break.
So Fontaine flies out to erase the Pacific start, but not before they narrow the lead just a little bit. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 errors, and 2 runners stranded. We're going to move to the top of the 8th inning. Looks like Ross Pomerantz is going to be out for another inning of work here. Sander fell down 7-2.
Now, we are out hitting them 9 hits to 7 right now, which goes to show just the kind of day that the Pacifics are having. Not much you can do about it. A couple errors early and a lot of walks and hit by pitches, though.
Yeah, and you also have to think for the Pacifics, they're usually so good about scoring runs economically. You usually see 4 runs on 5 hits or 4 runs on 4 hits or something. Tonight it's completely the opposite. They just can't buy a hit with runners in scoring position tonight.
2 runs on 9 hits. They've walked at least 4 or 5, hit 4 or 5. Free bases will kill you a lot faster than hits ever will, because hits aren't consistent. But I've played baseball a long time. I've never seen anybody hit the bases loaded.
Yeah.
At least I don't think I have. Maybe in Little League.
Brett and I were talking about that the same way. We've never seen the bases loaded by hit by pitch. I mean, that's just such a weird thing. And they obviously weren't intentional. Russell, with his team down, he's not looking for vengeance or anything.
Especially not because, Casey Russell he hasn't been pitching that much either. So
No.
you're getting out there trying to get work and trying to show that you can be out there on a regular basis. And, it's kind of a struggle. I was listening to the radio broadcast down in the clubhouse when I was off air, and they had, I think Mike Shapiro said it best when JR, his Casey Russell's father, the pitching coach, went out to the mound. He said that must have been a very tense and very unhappy father going out to the mound for that mound visit right there.
Well, Casey, not the most experienced pitcher. Brett and I were talking about it. He didn't really play baseball that much before he came to the Pacifics.
It was mostly his father and his brother's sport. His brother is a big leaguer, left-handed reliever for the Cubs in the big leagues right now, who actually had a sub-1 ERA for a good majority of this year, but he's been struggling a little bit recently. Actually gave up a walk-off hit to the Oakland Athletics 2 nights ago. This is unfortunate.
That is unfortunate, although not to Bay Area sports fans, but still for Casey Russell and his brother. But I guess those are the kinds of things when you're a pitcher. You just have to be able to bounce back from that and keep it going.
Pitching, you are all alone. Sometimes it's definitely not for the better that way.
Well, Ross Pomerantz now falling behind Waylon Singh Chow thought it was 2-0, but the scoreboard says 1-1. See what the umpire says after this pitch, as this one's grounded to the right side. Kendall, he's got it over to first in time. Kendall always so sure over there, able to get the out. And one away in the top of the 8th.
Ross Pomerantz is actually a graduate from Occidental down in Southern California, just by Burbank. It's actually in the same league as my school, Chapman University. They actually made a run for the first time in years this year. They had by far the best player in our league and playing center field and closing for them and hitting 420 or something, just totally ridiculous.
That sounds that's an amazing average right there, even in D3 baseball.
Yeah, they play in a little crackerjack box of a field. Right field's about 270. You can hit some fun balls and BP in games up onto the street out there.
I believe that is. Pomerantz also a graduate of Marin Academy.
Yes, he is.
The first ever to go pro, I do believe.
I do believe, and from Marin Academy at any rate, yes. Marin Academy is a great school. One of my good friends from my childhood went there, but you know, it's with the exception of soccer and maybe a little bit of lacrosse, they don't turn out too many athletes.
Well, Pomerantz now working to Charlie Mirabal. He's ahead 1-2. Mirabal on the day has only been retired once. He singled in the first, walked in the second, was struck out in the third, and then was hit by Casey Russell in the 6th. So Mirabal having himself a decent ball game, getting the on-base percentage up, that's for sure.
That's for sure. On-base percentage is a slightly underrated stat because it's always flashier to look at batting average and RBIs, but you know, it's the one true stat. Tells you how much they're actually getting around the bases a little bit, and you'd be amazed how quietly someone can actually be on base all the time. And it does add up though, and you do start to know, especially this time of the season when you start seeing runs, the run count will start to explode.
Yeah, you see it. You saw it last year, at least with Brandon Bell, where he was hitting about 250, but his on-base percentage was over 400.
And it does make a difference, especially down in the bottom of the lineup. You know, especially, I mean, the National League's a little interesting because you know you run into the pitcher in the bottom of the lineup a lot, which is interesting. But it's a testament to how much our bottom of the lineup is getting on base here with the Pacifics, with Price Kendall's leading the team in RBIs, the leadoff hitter.
That he is, yeah. And he's only hit 3 home runs, on the year.
Including that walk-off earlier a couple weeks ago.
Absolutely. Well, Pomerantz, the 1-0 pitch, swung on and missed there by Brandon Gregorich. 1-1 now the count. Wind has died down just a little bit. Pomerantz's 1-1 pitch is lifted into very shallow right field. Kendall going back, Hova coming in. It's going to be Kendall who makes the catch. Kendall makes all 3 outs in the top of the 8th. So it's the Price Kendall show as the Pacifics need to get something going here in the bottom of the 8th inning. We said that for 3 straight innings now, and it's more dire now than ever.
Absolutely. It is time, guys. It's time to wake up the bats. Can't hang around any longer. It is one of those things, though, and you bring it back to the very first inning. When you get off to such a slow, kind of sloppy start, it's really hard to come back and get the momentum swinging back your way, especially because it allows the other pitcher to settle in. Your pitcher hasn't settled in. I mean, Scholl only managed to go 2 full innings. You know, when it's a bullpen day, it's really hard to swing your way back into it.
Well, it's going to be Zach Foster coming in to replace Chad Blackwell, who pitched an absolutely fantastic game. 7 innings pitched for him, 9 hits, 2 runs, 6 strikeouts. As he just had everything working for him today, and the Pacifics were just totally flummoxed.
You know, it's like we were talking about in the pregame when he first came out, not overpowering stuff. You know, his strikeout numbers aren't there, but he's going to get a lot of outs. He took some hits, he took some knocks, and you know, it's, at the end of the day, if you can get outs, you're going to be successful. I mean, and it sounds really silly to say out loud, but you know, I've played with a lot of guys who are just pure winners. You know, like they go out, they get outs when they need them, they get the big outs. You know, they had second and third an inning ago, and with 1 out, and got the strikeout and the line out. Some guys just have a knack for it. And if you can give up 9 hits and only walk away with 2 runs, you had a pretty good day.
Sounds kind of like Logan Odom was yesterday. I believe it was 7 hits and then the 1 run from him. And
he got it his way through quite a few of those innings last night.
Blackwell had a little bit of an easier time than Odom did, and he really made it work for himself today as he only gave up 2. He has a 7-2 lead. And if Foster is able to pitch anything like he did early in the game, that 7-2 lead should be plenty.
Foster's a slinger. He's going to drop down sidearm and he's going to let the ball run into righties, and he's got probably a little bit of a frisbee. I call it a frisbee breaking ball because it spins straight sideways as opposed to getting any tilt, and it'll just run away from righties into lefties.
Yeah, in 11 2/3 innings this year, Foster has a 1-1 record out of the bullpen, a 6.17 ERA. Been tagged up for 8 total runs, 9 total, 8 earned.
That does happen sometimes with guys who sling the ball from down there. They leave the ball up a little bit, and the ball will start to fly. When they're going to be really successful is when they're keeping that two-seam movement coming down. They're going to get a lot of balls pounded into the ground, and lots of quick outs.
So Danny Gonzalez stepping up to the plate. Gonzalez with one of the Pacific's 9 hits today. He singled in the 4th inning to right field.
See, what's interesting is an arm angle like this generally makes you a specialist. In his case, it would be a righty specialist, like Javier Lopez is the lefty specialist for the Giants. When you sling it from all the way down there, especially for righties, it's very hard to hit. But actually this year, UCLA, the National Championship UCLA's closer, was a submarine pitcher. And he's one of the few people I've ever seen from submarine who can get both lefties and righties out consistently. He had absolutely unreal numbers. He had like 20 or so saves in a collegiate season.
That's amazing.
It was unreal. Actually, a friend of mine, Riley Moore, he's the catcher for University of Arizona. I went and watched them play when they were at UCLA, and I asked him after the game, what's it like facing this submarine guy? And he goes, you know, I've never quite seen heavy sink just like it. He keeps the ball down, and even then from the left side, Riley's a left-handed hitter. He said, you know, he's definitely got the stuff to get everybody out, and that's why he's been so successful.
Well, that's impressive. I mean, from submariners, really, there's only a couple that you can think of that really are effective. Chad Bradford comes to mind. Dan Quisenberry also.
I believe Brad Ziegler did pretty well for a while there, and Darren O'Day had a couple years with the Rangers back in 2009 and 2010.
As Gonzalez takes a breaking ball, that one didn't miss by much on the front door.
Darren O'Day was always impressive. I never understood. He threw completely submarine, and he could get the ball up around 90 to 92 miles an hour. I could not believe that.
That's almost physically impossible.
Well, I sure can't do it. That's why I throw overhand.
Well, Gonzalez gets into this one into deep left center field. This one is going to be off the wall and over. Gonzalez starts it off with a ground rule double, in the top of the 8th inning.
That has got to be at least the 4th ball I thought should have left the yard today that has just stayed in. It's one of those days here at Albert Park that the ball is just not flying at all.
Brian King had one. Gonzalez just had one right there. I thought it was gone off the bat, too.
The one I couldn't believe was Serrano's for Maui. That ball should have been very far gone. It was loud. It was high. I thought I had the carry, and we got a big gust of wind, and it just barely kept it in the park, and he ended up with a single way back in, I believe, the 3rd inning.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, and Serrano's been putting a lot of good swings on the ball today. Not a ton to show for it, though.
Yeah, this is what I have been hearing. Everyone's been raving in the dugout about his hitting ability, and I'm starting to see it today. Got one of the funkiest batting stances I've seen in a while, though. Very crouched over and lots of arm movement and swinging out over the plate, but when it's time to hit, he gets ready and freaking lets it fly.
Yeah, so many pieces moving. It's almost one of the similar to one of the Japanese style batting stances where everything's moving, and when it's all moving in sync, the ball goes a long way.
But it also leaves you very vulnerable to off-speed pitches if you're not quite on time. You know, if your hips open up too soon or you get your hands moving in the wrong direction a little bit, it can throw you off and really ruin some at-bats at the same time. That's how I never quite understood how Ichiro did it, drifting through every ball and practically taking that sort of softball slap hitter swing. But, whatever helps you get 260-plus hits in a season, man.
Yeah, I don't think Ichiro's complaining as Ryan King lifts this one into shallow center field, actually not even into the outfield. Kahaha hola hola. On the outfield grass is going to make the catch.
We just need a nickname for him.
I'm going to just start calling him Kalaika. That's his first name.
I'm just going to call him K.
K.
Or the second baseman. I like the second baseman.
Well, Zach Pace now coming to the plate. One away. Danny Gonzalez on second base. Pace definitely needs to get a hit here. I mean, you can say that about every hitter in the Pacific's lineup, but you got to think with Gonzalez in scoring position, the Pacifics have only had 2 hits with the runners in scoring position today, both of them from Michael Hova. So someone else needs to start contributing in the lineup for them to come back today.
I mean, I have faith in Zach Pace. He started off very hot, but he is very talented and he's very patient. I expect him to get a good pitch today here. I think this is kind of something he's been waiting for, sort of a right-handed hitter, a right-handed pitcher, that with a little bit of sling that he can see really well and get a good swing on.
Well, Foster comes to the plate. Pace taking outside for a ball. No action in either bullpen right now. Looks like Pomerantz and Foster are going to be the 2 pitchers for the moment.
Zach Pace is actually a local guy, as you just saw there. He's actually from Katati, just north here. His dad comes down to almost all of the games, and he actually helped edge the field for us the other day. His dad is sort of a field guru, one might say. He donated his chalker that he used to do all of Zach's Little League and sort of pony ball games with. Brings his dog down and sits up at the top of the bleachers and has a good time. Scott Pace is a very, very good, very, very, very good human being.
As Pace rounds this one slowly over to the left side, mirror ball up with it, throws on to first in time to get Pace. On the play, Gonzalez does move over to third, but Pace very nearly beat that out for an infield single.
Pace will play the game hard. He'll put pressure on you. He's not one of those guys that accepts his fate on a ground ball. He'll give you a hard 90.
Well, now Morgan Mickham in a very clutch situation here. He singled in his last at-bat in the 7th. And now would be a time for him. This could be a time for him to prove himself to this team.
This is a very good opportunity to get on your teammate's good side right here.
Well, he takes a first pitch strike there. It's interesting when Mickham takes a pitch, it seems like he almost starts to swing every time.
Yeah, it's better than the opposite. I know that I was always taught when I was younger, it's got to be, you go from yes, yes to no. What that means is you're swinging until you decide not to, as opposed to not swinging and then deciding to swing, which will always lead to late hacks, bad decisions, and you'll start missing pitches. If you're ready to swing all the time.
As Mickham drives this one into the left center field gap, this one will get down for extra bases. He's rounding first and heading to second. The throw-in from Williams is going to be cut off by Mirabal. So Mickham gets himself an RBI double and narrows the Maui lead to 7-3.
It's a great job of staying inside the baseball, not trying to do too much, and just putting the ball in the left center field gap. But like I was saying, if you're ready to go all the time, you're never going to be caught off guard by a mistake pitch out over the plate. Whereas if you know, like when Price Kendall does, where he always takes the first pitch, sometimes you'll see him take a pitch directly down the middle, and you're going, man, I wish I could have swung at that. But when you've already decided you're not swinging, it's really hard to get started again.
Well, Mickham coming through with a huge, huge clutch hit there. 7-3. Pacifics are down to Maui as Foster and Valdez having a little disagreement there. Foster looks back at Mickham. The first pitch from him is off the plate for a ball. Price Kendall certainly due today. He's 0 for 2. He was hit twice in the first 2 innings, but since then he's been hitless.
That one almost got him too. Looked like it.
That was a call to strike, though. Might have nudged the inside corner. Maybe
I think it's just the way that the Price reacted to it kind of threw me off.
No, Foster is set. Mickham away from second. Foster's 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Kendall talking to himself after that swing. He missed that one by quite a bit.
Kendall likes to do that. Price will talk to himself when he's frustrated. That is that frisbee breaking ball I'm talking about. It comes out and it goes straight sideways, and you throw it right down the middle of the plate, and it just keeps going and disappearing, and it's really hard to stay back and drive that ball the other way. Sergio Romo has a very similar slider. He'll throw it right over the middle of the plate, and guys commit to it so soon, and it keeps going off the plate.
Well, there it is again. This time Kendall grounds to the third to throw over to first just in time to get him. Kendall very frustrated, throws his helmet on the ground. And the Pacifics get 1 run there in the 8th inning, but still not enough as they're down 7-3. But how about Morgan Mickham? First game, he gets his first hit, gets his first RBI, gets a solid double the other way. That's looking pretty good.
Get the first RBI out of the way in the first game. Plus he's been sitting around for the last 2 days. Took some batting practice, got some sleep after his long drive from Austin. But it's nice to get in there and actually prove yourself to your teammates, especially at this level. It's good to get in there and get that first hit and that first RBI out of the way, especially a clutch hit like this in the 8th inning. Especially when you're replacing such a popular player like Jamie McGraw. While Jamie wasn't doing all that well offensively, he was very well liked, and it's a hard role to fill.
And it's actually really difficult. Speaking of hard things, is not to like Jamie McGraw. I mean, he was well liked just by everybody. Just another very quiet player, but just a really nice guy when it came down to it.
He and Danny Gonzalez are very similar, sort of defensive specialists, very soft-spoken, very polite. You couldn't ask for much more. Just it's the unfortunate part of professional baseball. When you're not hitting very well, they have to find someone who will.
Morgan Mickham definitely doing that thus far today. 2 for 4, that's a 500 average on the year. Not a big sample size, of course, but hey, that's not a bad way to start off your professional career.
No. Certainly better than that 0 for 4. He wasn't looking very good the first couple at bats, so I'm glad he found it.
Definitely did find his rhythm. Oh, Russ Pomeranz going to be out for his third inning of work here in the ninth. Going to try and keep Maui at the 7-3 spot where they are right now.
Ross is not a hard thrower by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he'll get in the low, maybe mid-80s with his fastball. He runs it pretty well. He spots it pretty well. He's got a very good changeup. He's going to get you out, getting you out in front, getting you off balance, and hitting his spots. You know, not gonna get a whole lot of strikeouts out here. It's something that lefties seem to get away with a lot more than righties do. Not throwing that hard.
Yeah, you really don't see. You hear a lot of crafty lefties out there.
Yeah.
Lefty specialists, righty specialists, not so much.
I mean, Sergio Romo was when he first came to the big leagues. They would put him in the 8th inning as sort of a righty specialist, and only recently he started developing a changeup and a little bit more consistency on his sink. Allows him to get lefties out a little bit better, and that's what allowed him to make that transition into closer. Because he's always going to have that slider that righties just can't do anything with. But that slider, that same slider, is very hard to throw to lefties because you're sweeping it into their swing.
And Jeremy Williams checks his swing. He wins, says the field umpire on that one. I think the Pacifics might have gotten a break there. It looked like he held up to me.
Well, it's one of the few breaks we've gotten today, so let's not complain about it too much.
So Pomeranz ahead of Williams 0-2. He rocks into his windup and the 0-2 pitch. Just a little bit inside. Williams turned away from it, but it looked pretty close.
That's a nice little front door sinker right there. If you have that nice run going away from righties, you can come in, throw it right at their hip, and let it run back to home plate.
Williams grounds this one to the left side. Gonzalez on the backhand. The quick throw over to first. Got him by a half of a step. Williams is out. Bang, bang play there, but he definitely was out. Danny Gonzalez credited him with a strong throw there on a slow chopper. And there's one away in the ninth.
It's the kind of awareness you can't teach. Field awareness, you know, that sort of internal clock that every fielder has, knowing when he's charging in ground ball, how much time, depending on who's hitting, he has to get rid of the ball again. That's what I liked about catching. If someone's stealing, you just catch it and get rid of it as fast as is humanly possible and don't have to think too much about it.
Well, here's Ray Serrano. Big swing and a miss at that ball in the dirt. And he's down 0-1.
I feel like Serrano has a very similar approach to Hova. You know, looking for fastballs, and he's not afraid to swing.
And he swings at this one, drives it deep into center field. Mickham is on the warning track, though, and makes the catch. Well, I say warning track, it's really the full softball field there, but it's where the warning track would be, about 5 feet shy of the wall.
Where the home plate area is on the softball field out in center field.
Now Serrano hits another deep fly ball, doesn't get it to go anywhere, though, and he's out again today. Now Jimmy Rohan coming to the plate.
You know, Zach Pace actually last year playing every day in center field. It is kind of an art form to play center field here at Albert Park, because there's actually the cut of the grass around the outfield there, around the infield of the softball field, I should say, is actually kind of high. So you have to have some awareness to know when you're switching from dirt to grass and from grass back to dirt. And also those line drives, if they hit the grass, they're going to hop up, but if they hit that dirt, they're going to stay down and they're going to run right past you. It's unfortunate, but it's just part of playing here.
Well, the 1-0 pitch is slapped off to the right side. Albert Park has a few of those little niches here and there. You know, you got the swamp in right field we talked about. You have the dirt in center field.
You have a very deep backstop.
Very, very deep backstop, and it also gets fairly sludgy down there too. So that's where all the water drains on the field.
It is unfortunate. I have to walk back there quite a lot. My shoes are not quite as nice as when I just bought them a week ago, and they're already destroyed.
Yeah, and one thing about Albert Park is if you ever come here to do any work on the field, do not bring your best pair of shoes.
No, I completely recommend that.
Pomeranz falls behind a Rohan here, 3-1. Still nobody on. There's 2 outs in the top of the ninth. Pomeranz trying to hold Maui where they are. His 3-1 pitch, a breaker, and it stays outside, so he walks Jimmy Rohan to put him on base. And now Nick Valdez is going to step up to the plate.
That is unfortunate. Ross has been cruising a little bit here. It's unfortunate he couldn't just, you know, he was trying to pour a changeup over right there and didn't quite get it in. I think he's going to come back and attack right here, and we're going to go see if we can score some runs in the bottom of the ninth.
That first pitch almost gets away from Reinking. Kind of a lucky block there. Any catching coach would just be screaming at him for him there, although he did make it to Double-A. I'm not going to chastise him.
Yeah, it's a little hard to criticize him when he gets to Double-A in big league baseball, but, you know, Would be nice if he had gotten down to his knees, especially with a runner on base.
Now Pomeranz behind 1-0. His pitch. This one a little bit high. Now 2-0.
Going back to that changeup again, and it is starting to get up a little bit. That's the one place where you can get hurt really bad. If you have a good changeup, you start to leave it up, you're going to start to get hurt.
Well, Pomeranz is ready. Rohan away from first. This one lined sharply into right center field. Mickham is there, and it'll go over his head. He misread the ball. Rohan is rounding second. He's now rounding third, and he's going to be held up there as the relay in for Mickham was a solid one. All the way from the fence to Bryce Kendall on the infield. And now there's 2 on with 2 out, runners on second and third.
That's unfortunate. You know, I saw Mickham going after that ball, and I saw how hard it was hit, and I saw his approach on it, and I was like, wow, he's really got a beat on it. And no, I guess not.
Well, he had a beat on where he thought it was going to be. And now the wind has actually shifted directions a little bit. It's now pushing out towards center field, maybe towards left center a little bit. It's not going to mess with him just a little bit there and caused him to miss it. And now DJ Dixon up to the plate. A chance to really hurt his former team here. He could put his team up by 6 with a base hit. Pomeranz is set at the chest. And actually, excuse me, now he has sent up a pinch hitter here. It's going to be Angus Roger. He's going to take over here. Roger on the earth, 333 hitter, but very small sample size, a total of 6 at-bats. Probably taking over just a pinch hitting role in total.
Well, DJ's a left-handed hitter.
As this ball is roped down the left field line, this one is gone. Angus Roger hits one off of the screen in deep left field and puts Maui up 10-3.
It was about 2 to 3 feet just inside. We have a net that comes up right behind the left field wall there to protect Anderson Drive. Absolute screamer down the left field line, fair by about 2 or 3 feet.
And that's actually very similar to the Michael Hova walk-off home run from a few nights ago. Just hit that netting right down the line. And
I actually went out there to try and find that home run a couple nights ago, and some kid had already beaten me to it.
Well, someone was anxious about it as Pomeranz comes back to Kahoho Hala Hala with a ball. 1-0.
This is what happened. You get a 2-out walk, and next thing you know, looking down a 3-run home run.
And Pomeranz definitely needs to settle down here. It's now a 7-run deficit the Pacifics have to overcome in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Maui bullpen is completely quiet. It does look like Foster's going to come back.
Any chance, like I said earlier, any chance you can save an arm here and there, you're going to take advantage of it. That 3-run home run just took a whole lot of pressure off of their bullpen and off of their team.
And definitely deflated any momentum the Pacifics may have had coming into this inning.
It is really sad because Ross Pomeranz was doing such a good job there for the first 2 or so innings he was pitching, 2 2/3 almost.
Yeah, it's Kahoho Hala Hala singles up the middle there. So now 2 straight hits for the Nakakoa Ikaika. Brings them back up the top of the order here. And they're already out 10-3 and they're working on a 2-out rally here. And you actually got to think, a home run is sometimes described as the biggest rally killer because after a home run, you know, most of the time you'll see an out. So for Kahoho Hala Hala to get a hit there, that was a big deal.
It is a big deal. Oh.
As Sing Chow drives this one into the left center field gap. Mickham is giving a chase, and he misreads this one. It's going to bounce off the wall. Kahoho Hala Hala is rounding third. He will score the 4th run of the inning for Nakakoa Ikaika, and now it's 11-3.
Well, we're throwing that cliche out the window. It's not a rally killer at all, apparently.
Yeah, apparently not, as Sing Chow on the second pitch from Pomeranz went very far into the left center field gap and has himself his first RBI of the series. Now the Pacifics had won 14 straight games at home prior to this. But right now, barring a massive comeback in the bottom of the 9th inning, it looks as though that streak will be ended.
It's unfortunate, but that's the kind of thing that you're kind of pressing for too as a team. When you have that perfect record and that perfect thing, you start pressing a little bit. So it's unfortunate. You never like losing, but sometimes that little bit of pressure release will allow you to loosen up and play some better baseball tomorrow.
Well, Coach Jeff Russell going out to talk to Pomeranz there, but the Pacific's bullpen is empty. So this is his inning, his one out to get to send the Pacifics back up to the plate in the bottom of the ninth inning. Charlie Mirabal stepping up to the plate now. Now he's just 2 batters away from hitting around in this inning. And Pomeranz misses there. Not a good thing to see. Especially after a couple of big hits, you need to come back with a strike, and missing not going to help his case.
No, not necessarily, no. I mean, at least he's missing down. And then he goes right back up around the belt. And
it's lined into left field. Sing Shao is going to be held up at third base. He probably could have scored, but Maui's starting to take a little bit of a courtesy approach towards the Pacifics. This game does look to almost be in the books. They're going to have to get 8 runs off of Foster in the bottom of the ninth inning. And the way he pitched in the bottom of the 8th, that's going to be very difficult.
8 runs is hard to come by in a whole game. I don't know about an inning. Especially not the way the Pacifics have been hitting with runners in scoring position today.
Brendan Gregorich at the plate. First pitch from Pomeranz again misses low. Starting off another hitter with a ball, 1-0.
And now you have the very, very dangerous Brandon Gregorich, we should add. When you're struggling, he's not really the guy you want to see in the batter's box.
Well, Pomeranz fooled him there with the changeup. That was a good pitch from him to his credit, 1-1.
Yeah. He's never afraid to go to that changeup. That's a great pitch to have. Just one quality pitch away from hitting here.
As this pitch is lifted into shallow center field, Kendall is back to get it. He camps under it and makes the catch to retire the out, but not before Maui goes ham on Ross Pomeranz and scores 4 runs in the 9th, highlighted by the 3-run shot from Angus Roger down the line. Pacifics have a lot of work to do in the bottom of the 9th inning. We'll be right back on Marin TV. They need 8 runs to tie it.
My name is Mariah Chinchilla, and I'm a senior at Dominican University. When I graduate, I want to be a web and media producer.
My name is Daniel Williams. I go to the University of Puget Sound, and I want to work in the baseball industry.
Zach Busson, Dominican University, and I want to be a garment manufacturer. The name's Vela, Sam Vela. I'm a junior at Dominican University of California. When I graduate, I plan on trying out for professional soccer teams in Europe.
My name is Graham Hooper. I go to the San Francisco Flex Academy, and I want to be a baseball broadcaster.
Jana McCarroll. I go to Dominican University, and I am interested in pursuing media arts.
My name is Spencer Clark. I go to the University of Arizona, and I want to be a composer.
Nadia Green, Dominican University of California, and I'd like to go into PR and marketing.
Hi, my name is Rennie Shapiro. I go to Tam High School, and I'd love to be an ESPN anchor when I'm older.
Well, late inning heroics is not something that the Pacifics are foreign to, although
this is some serious heroics right here.
These are some very serious heroics. They're going to need a big-time rally here to tie, obviously. With 8 runs, they're going to have to bat around at least.
At least.
So Derek Hale leading off is going to be the 2, 3, 4 hitters slated to bat in this inning. As the first pitch from Foster is off the plate for a ball, 1-0.
I'd like to see them make a little bit of noise here. Just, I mean, you've kind of been out of this game from the first inning. Got such a slow start. You're not getting any hits or runs in scoring position. Just put up a couple runs, get a little bit of momentum going into tomorrow. It's not much. It's a sort of a hollow victory, but
it is a 6-game series, and they have won the first 2. You don't want to give Maui the chance to get back with another win tomorrow. You're absolutely right. Get some momentum going back into the game. As that breaker nips the corner there from Foster.
See, these 6-game series really are a grind because there's only 23 people, I believe, on the Pacific's roster, and most of them are pitchers. We have a couple extra position players, but You know, we see it today with Johnny Woodard, who's out with back spasms. You know, it'll wear on you and it'll grind on you. You think it's just standing out there at first base, but you know, yeah, you're here hours early taking BP, taking extra ground balls. You got to stay in shape. You're working out. It's a long stretch. It's a grind.
As the throw from Foster pulls Serrano off the base. The Pacifics will take it any way they can get him right now. Hill gets on base via the E1. And now Steve Detweiler going to come out and pinch hit for Hova.
Steve Detweiler.
Steve Detweiler maybe going to be able to get the Pacifics exactly the shot in the arm they need. This is, as Stu Horn likes to call it, the Detweiler wind, going on to the left center field alley. Last opening day when he hit 2 home runs, that was basically exactly where he hit it, right into that chute of wind going on to left center field. So we'll see what he does here.
I was very bummed. Last year I was still at school when Det hit those home runs, and I heard they were bombs. And I was really bummed, and the whole place was packed. It was really unfortunate. I'm really bummed I missed it.
Well, Detweiler with a big chance to do something here, at least keep this rally going. Pacifics need a lot of offense in this inning as he thinks about the breaker, and he's going to leave it off the plate. It counts now even at 1-1.
As most of you know, Steve Detweiler was a hero at Fresno State when they made their Cinderella run for the World Series in 2008. In the championship game, he had all 6 RBIs, excuse me.
He hits this one high and deep in the left field. Williams is back. He's still moving back, and on the warning track makes the catch. So Detweiler gave that one a heck of a ride, maybe helped out by the wind a little bit.
1/8 of an inch from being a home run on the bat right there, just a little bit too underneath it.
So Detweiler almost does it, but Donati now going to come up with a chance to keep the rally going. 1 away, Derek Hale on first base.
The incredible thing about Detweiler's World Series performance is that he actually did it with a completely dislocated, I believe it was his left thumb. So he had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs and caught the last out of the College World Series without his thumb actually attached to his hand. You know, I can barely get 6 RBIs ever.
Well, Hale goes. Donati swings and misses. Defensive indifference is going to let Hale get the second. He's not really that important. The tying run is probably Detweiler should he come up to hit again.
Yeah, I mean, keeping the double play in order is nice and all, but at this point in the game, it doesn't matter.
So Foster set the wind really picking up now. As Donati thinks about the breaking ball in the dirt. Held up his swing, though, and now the count 1-1. Was an appeal there, but no swing, says the field umpire.
Wow, that wind has really changed.
Went from a moderate breeze to very gusty.
Yes, and very, very, very firm out to left field.
And Donati probably thinking, just give me a fastball right now. Give me something I can hit to left.
The way he's been swinging at breaking balls today, you know, I certainly wouldn't give him a fastball.
Absolutely not. Just give him that steady dive, just let him swing at those. And don't hang it.
Don't hang it. I mean, that's pretty much good advice all the time, though.
True enough. Donati hits this one high into medium deep left field. Williams is moving under it. He will make the catch. So Hale got on via the error, but then Detweiler and Donati both flew out to left. And now Chase Fontaine represents the last hope for the Pacifics in this game.
Now batting for your Pacifics, number 2, Chase Fontaine.
I'd like to see Chase get a hit here. He's had a pretty rough day. He struck the ball pretty well a couple times. Also had some questionable calls.
He did reach base via a walk in the first inning, but that's it. Got into a double play, struck out looking. That was the questionable call you were talking about. First pitch swinging, he hits this one high into left field. This is really deep. Williams at the wall, makes the catch as he moves back to end the game. I thought he almost missed that one. I think the wind played tricks on him a little bit. So 2 balls go all the way to the wall in the left field in the bottom of the ninth, but the Pacifics can't get it done. Losing their first game at home in the 2013 campaign, 11-3 to Maui Nakao Ikai.
Well, the winning streak's over. It's behind you now. You got to turn the page and show up tomorrow and be ready to play. We knew Maui was going to be good coming into this series. We knew they were going to be our main competition for the title this year, and I mean, they showed it today. They took advantage of all of our mistakes. But, you know, it's one of those things, you're almost never going to win when you hit 5, 6 people, when you walk 5 or 6 more. It's just too many free bases.
Remember to buckle up on the way home, and if a member of your party
Something I
is
like to say is about half of your walks are going to come back to bite you, and I think almost all the walks came back to bite the Pacific.
Almost all of them, yes.
Well, it has been a beautiful Independence Day, aside from the action on the baseball field if you're a Pacifics fan. But like you said, Tabor, they will be back tomorrow, and it'll be Cal DeVore on the hill for the Pacifics. Always a good sign.
Always a good sign. He's going to bring some heat, and he's been pitching very well recently. He's fun to watch too. I really like watching 94 miles an hour. You know, it's kind of a here it is, hit it approach, and so far he's been getting away with it.
And he's been working on that slider too. I saw him taking a pen with Marin yesterday, and he looked very good over there.
He's been, you know, the thing about throwing so many fastballs is you see it a lot in the big leagues too. Is you see those guys that are very fastball heavy. When they do throw a breaking ball, it doesn't even really need to be that good. The fact that it's got that sort of wrinkle in it and it's slower, well, it's generally enough to throw off just about anybody.
Well, the Pacifics lose badly today, but honestly, I gotta say, if I'm coming back I'd rather come back from an 11-3 loss than a late inning comeback loss where you were ahead for most of the game and then all of a sudden, you get blown out in the late innings.
I mean, yeah, losing is never ideal, but there are, advantageous ways to lose. I mean, like I said earlier, it would have been nice if we had put a little bit of. I mean, we hit some balls well in the ninth inning, but at the end of the day, they're professionals. They're gonna come. They're gonna be back out here tomorrow, 7 o'clock game. They'll be out here early, getting all their work done. Nothing's gonna change. The only thing that changes is they no longer have a winning streak to worry about. They can move on and start the new one.
Well, on the day, Santa Fe drops to 23-7. Maui is 22-11. They're now 2.5 games back of the Pacifics in the Pacific Association of Professional Baseball Clubs. Christian Scholl gets tagged with the loss while Chad Blackwell gets his win. He was 3-4 on the year, and Scholl drops to 3-2.
I'm excited to see Christian pitch again. I know he had a rough day today, but he is a very, very good pitcher, and he'll be back.
He'll be back in Hawaii when the team takes to the road next week. There are still 3 games left in this series. Tickets are available at PacificsBaseball.com. Tickets are available for every game, including Iri Yoshida's game on Saturday, where the Knuckle Princess will come out to pitch against the Pacifics. This has been an exclusive production of Marin Television. Thank you for watching. For Tabor Watson, I am Vinny Longo, and Brett Kramer, who joined us for a couple innings. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Independence Day.